to the stream. I hope everybody's having a really good Monday. It's an ASMR stream, so prepare yourself. Just kidding. I'm just joking. Let's get the music going in the background. Who needs that? Who needs ASMR? YouTube's apparently banning ASMR channels, so I really don't want to put myself out there with that. Hello everyone, what's going on? How's everybody doing today? We have some team members in here. We have McLeod in the house, South Texas Shark. Troy is here, good to see you. Dino Dragon's here. Quindolin's in the building. Maestro's here. Good to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Earlier stream, it is an hour earlier, and I talked about it before we went live on why that is, and that is because when the after party comes back for Superman and Lois, this will be the time slot it's going to be in. This will be when we're going to be starting. So on Mondays, the Nerdcast will start an hour earlier, getting in preparation for Superman and Lois. So that's why we're starting an hour earlier. And then for the duration of Superman and Lois, we will be running at 10:30 Eastern every week for the after party. So, and no worries if you guys are not going to be able to tune in live for that stream because you don't want to get spoiled or whatever. It will stay up until the next day. So it'll be there, and then it will, depending on whether or not it gets any copyright hits or anything like that, it might go away for a little bit and come back. But I'm intending for them to stay up, so they will serve as my reviews for Superman and Lois, and then we'll have people here chatting about it. So so the Growly Bear, is it ASMR if you shout instead? I don't know. I think that's the opposite. That's the opposite of that. All right, we have some panelists tonight. We have a couple of panelists. One of them hasn't been on in forever, it feels like, and I'm so glad to have them back with us. But we are joined by Darren is here.
Hello, I haven't been on in forever. It's crazy.
I know, it's been a while. Actually, I think starting an hour earlier is going to be better for a lot of the panelists because everybody's so tired by the end of the stream. So this is going to be very beneficial. Look, Omega finally back. Well, Omega actually said in the group chat he was going to make it, and he is not here. So I'm outing him right now. I'm revealing the DMs and saying that he's not here. So, and we also have Darth Bunyan here in the chat. Hello, hey. Good to see you. It's been a minute, but glad to have you.
I know. Thank you for having me.
And we have some great topics today, so I need everybody to be very prepared to be outraged by so many things. But you also need to be excited. We have got a lot of good news as well, so I think that's pretty good. In the chat, if you guys are feeling what we're talking about, you want to support the show, there's lots of ways to do that. You can hit the like button. That's a free way to do it. If you hit the like button, that's a really big one. It definitely helps us in the algorithm. You can comment in the chat, but you have to be a subscriber. You have to subscribe to the channel to chat, but it's there for you if you want to chat. And if you're feeling extra spicy, you can do a super sticker or a super chat, and those are prioritized, and we will pull them up and discuss them in detail. So there you go. All right, so we're going to get in some news. The main topics for today it's going to be the Green Lantern casting, obviously. That's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about that, what that means for the DCU. We're going to watch the Thunderbolts trailer later. And then we're going to go over there's like bits of news that came out about that. There's some people on the internet complaining about it. Anyway, we'll go over all that when we get to it. There's some drama with Penguin and Agatha we're going to cover. And yeah, that's all the big stuff. But we do have a lot of smaller stories to talk about. Now, raise of hands for people that have been like spoiled by scoopers putting out information early and ruining movies and TV shows for you. I think a lot of us
probably okay. In general, yeah.
In general, yeah. I sometimes struggle, like when I'm talking to people, to remember what's a scoop and what's been confirmed. So sometimes I'll just say stuff and they're like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, oh wait, is that even confirmed? I guess not. I just heard it like 8 months ago in a scoop and I just combined it with the true facts.
Yeah. Well, we have some news here. One of the big ones on YouTube, or the bigger ones I should say, is someone called the N. Snyder. And I saw this post online, and it's from Christopher Mark here, and he brought it up, so that's why I bookmarked this one. After posting bizarre sexualized post threatening to post his body birthday suit, I should say, Jeff Snyder has deleted his Twitter account. And the N. Snyder provided, like, if you think about the two biggest people that provide like scoops, it's Daniel RPK and the N. Snyder. Those are the ones that you see the most magazines going for scoops and stuff like that. So I was very curious what he could have posted that would have been, because I'm like, wait a minute, did he really do this? There was no way for me to dig it up. Well, in this particular tweet, if you scroll down, there is actually let me see if I can find them. Here's a screenshot of what he was saying. So I am single and would like to no longer be single. So if you're in LA and you like movies and you're family oriented and you're good in bed, message me or tell a friend. Birthday suit pictures available upon request. And then it goes up. I have to stop dropping birthday suit pics on here. I will. It'll be awkward when I go to press screenings, but at least I will definitely have a girlfriend to go home after. Now this was what was posted right before the Twitter was deleted. So, and I'm sure there was other stuff on there because apparently there was other things that weren't screenshotted. We're not going to read them here because it's a bit more graphic, but this is sort of like a gateway into what he was posting before his Twitter was nuked.
Aggressive.
Thoughts on this?
Aggressive. I initially I wanted to give the man the benefit of the doubt, right? Because when you started saying this stuff, initially I thought, oh, back in the day when you leave your Facebook open and your friends get a hold of it, some crazy things can happen. But then you see this, and you're like, that's not what this is.
Okay, people asking who this is. Obviously, there's no face with name situation because there's a scooper, and people don't usually associate that. Yeah. We've talked about this on this podcast as well as other streams and videos before, where the N. Snyder is the source of a scoop. This is Jeff Snyder, the N. Snyder. This is the guy who does those scoops. Now, here's the thing. The Twitter is still gone. I went and looked today just before we started to see if it was still gone. It is. So there's going to be a big gap in scooping, obviously, because this guy provided a lot of that. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of Daniel RPK, what is it? Can we cook some toast or whatever the hell those dumb ones are?
We have toast or something.
Yeah. But this guy provided a lot of that stuff. Now, some people said he was more accurate than not accurate, meaning that he probably did have some sources in Hollywood. But this is wild. And it's allowed, though, on Twitter, it is allowed. If he wanted to turn his Twitter into, birthday suit central, he can do it. It's allowed.
Yeah.
Literally, you can do that. And I don't have an issue with that. I have a lot of friends that are in the adult industry, and as long as they're not doing anything illegal, I don't have a problem with it. But this is, to me, this is just, reputation gone, immediately.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Throwing it all away. I don't see any path back from this. And like I said, there was more than this. They just didn't screenshot it.
What woman did he think would jump at this and go, oh, this needs to be me. I'm going to win the lottery. Because clearly the man has reached desperation levels not known to normal man.
Right.
Okay. So clearly he has been getting rejection upon rejection. So Tinder's not working. I'm sure he might have tried Grindr at one point. Who knows? And then so here he is on Twitter, just a broadcast, please date me. And who does he think's going to reel that in?
And that's the thing. Like you said, he probably tried it, but there are many apps out there. There are ways of finding what you're into, elsewhere without bringing it onto your main account. Again, I get it can sometimes be hard, but there's ways. There's ways of finding that if that's what you're into. And I feel again, if I saw this picture, I wouldn't think that's Jeff Snyder from Twitter. I don't know what he looked like before this photo. I'd never seen him before. So I bet he could have done that elsewhere, elsewhere, and they wouldn't have even known. He could have had these two separate lives. I guess he was just trying to use his clout from Twitter to supercharge that, but yeah, one way to get nothing, I guess.
We'll come back to the rest of this in a second. We did have a super chat, and then we're going to get into all the Twitter stuff. I just thought we'd bring that up first to get it out of the way because that is a scooper that provides a lot of scoops that we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an important story to cover. Look, Darth is still completely baffled.
I'm at a loss. Right? Because who's going to look at a shirtless man driving, like with
Was
clearly,
he just shirtless though? That's the question. Or was
Like-
this a Beau DeMaio? Was it a Beau DeMaio, or was it just trying to
clearly
figure it
his
out?
priority should have been
Yeah.
driving, but he was like, no, I need to blast this out on Twitter. I need a girlfriend ASAP.
I'm looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like,
The
I'm
world
not trying
has
to
know.
judge. I would never judge someone else's appearance, but maybe there's a better photo you could
Yeah.
use for that. Like,
no, I
Yeah.
agree.
Like, there
sunglasses
was a
on,
guy-
and your face. Like,
There was a guy that put up a billboard saying, "Hi, ladies, I'm a virgin. Please date me," or whatever. Right? He had more of a chance than what this is. Do you know what I mean? This is just again aggressive.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Maybe he found someone, and that's why he deleted his Twitter. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the right woman came along, and she was like, "We can go out, but you got to get rid of your Twitter because that's not a good look." All right, we got a super chat here that's not. We're not going to cover this super chat in any topic today, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. And you guys might be completely confused, but I'll answer it, and then if you know what it is, you can chime in on it. So Hero Culture US with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I do appreciate it. All right, just saw the Ackman debate. Andy Pants Gaming. It was boring. Andy kept using the same 3 talking points over and over again. So are you guys familiar with this at all?
Andy
About this
Pence.
drama?
I have no
Okay.
idea what you're talking about.
So
Ackman.
Andy Pants Gaming is like a right-wing, like sexist, misogynistic,
Gotcha.
like that kind of person. So it's a lot of the same like sort of anti-progressive talking points that you would hear from those channels, the bully stuff. And Ackman is someone who has had controversy in the past, but more of a progressive individual. So there's probably, I think there was a debate earlier. Was it today or was it 2 days? I think it was over the weekend, maybe. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't really comment on it. But appreciate you with the tip, Hero Culture. I will probably check it out when I have some time. Literally, this is the first free time I've had because I didn't mention this, but yesterday I went to step out of my house to pick food up off of the tray. We have a little table tray outside, and I stepped onto the ledge of my doorway, and the brick gave out, and I literally fell. Like I think I almost broke my ankle when I went down because it was like a good like drop like this where I just went straight through the brick. So I've been in a lot of pain. I haven't had a lot of time, and I had to work last night with my leg. Just it was awful. But I know you guys don't want to hear about all that, so we're not going to go into that. But anyway, so I haven't had a chance, but I will check it out. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. All right, so we're going to get into a segment of the show where I have a brand new intro for it. So here we go. So it's time for some Twitter shit. That's what it is. I had to star it out because YouTube and all that stuff. Anyway, let's go through some tweets. All right, here's the first one that we got. This one's interesting. Sony will now start notifying Marvel Studios about the usage of their Spider-Man related villains in their projects. The 2 points here are Marvel will be blocked from using that villain character until the film hits VOD release, and Kraven can appear in the MCU because it seems like this deal will start like right away, meaning that Kraven is a character that can be shared. Now, again, when it says source, that usually means that it is a rumor or may or may not be true, but I feel like these are fair things to discuss because if they are true, I'd like to give my opinion on them. And for me, this is a good thing, but it also means Marvel's going to give the side eye to any movie that underperforms. So if Kraven comes out and it does well, then Sony's obviously going to want to continue using Kraven in their universe. And if Kraven does poorly, Marvel's going to be like, we don't want that shit associated with us, so we're not going to use it either. So I don't know how useful it's going to be, but I think it's a good thing they have the option. What are your thoughts on this?
Fair?
I don't know. I can never trust Marvel updates. I feel like every time they tweet, it's like the biggest piece of dog shit ever.
This would seem the least far-fetched to me. I was like,
Sure.
okay, this sounds like it
That's
could
fair.
be real.
That's fair. I don't know. I'm gonna be very curious because there's no current production on any Sony movie post Kraven. Like Kraven's as far as we know. Like there's been some other rumored or said that are confirmed. I'm curious what their plan is after Kraven? Are we going to start wrapping this thing up? Are we merging with the MCU?
Because we don't know any other projects really from them.
No,
after this.
outside of the Spider-Man Noir series that we're getting.
Yeah.
But that seems like it might be separate from the Sony universe we're setting up. So, I mean, I could see a world where maybe those rumors that Venom was in Spider-Man was true. Like, we throw him over there, wrap him up in Secret Wars, and then we might just be done with the universe. Like, do we
think that a Kraven or do we think that the Spider-Verse's viability relies on Kraven being a success? Is that what we're thinking here? Do we think this movie has to make them money, or they're just gonna, scrap it?
I think Madam Web was a wake up for them. I think they were like, oh, this isn't working for most people. And yeah, I definitely think, like, there was reshoots for Venom, there's reshoots for Kraven. Maybe they're trying to salvage it, and maybe I would bet they're looking at these next two movies and be like, okay, if these don't do well, we might be looking elsewhere. I don't know what elsewhere looks like at the moment. Again,
animated.
It is.
I think the animated stuff, like the Spider-Verse.
That'd be cool. I mean, I'd love more spin-offs in that world. I think that could work well for them.
Like, there are so many characters and so many different spider people that you could do lots of different things. Darth, are you excited for Kraven? We really haven't talked since the trailer.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Could not be more repulsed by it. This tweet is the dream, though, right? Other than we're sharing, like, and we don't care who has what at what time, just to say, oh, let us play with our toys. When we finish with them, you can play with them. That's the best news anybody could hope for. So I think either this is true or it was a slow news day, and they were like, what can we put out that won't piss everybody off?
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
But I love what they're going with Venom. I called this months ago, that them bringing out Null. And it really could open up a lot, to be fair. And obviously that's going to finish and they're going to rely on the other projects that they have. But Sony's never going to let Spider-Man go. As long as they can have him, they will have him. Like, they just know it's like they just need the right recipe. You know what I mean? They just need to capture those 11 herbs and spices, and bam, they've got a cash printing machine. You know what I mean? They're just not quite landing it.
Sony lucked out because they got the most popular character. That's the reality of it. Like if it were any other Marvel character, Marvel would probably just do away with them. But it's Spider-Man. They can't just like walk away from Spider-Man. Like if they only had access to Kraven, Marvel would be like, okay, what the fuck? Just you can have Kraven. You know what I mean? What is it here? Dino Dragon said, I'm tired of Spider-Man villain movies. Do we agree with that? Spider-Man villain movies?
Yes and no, right? What they're choosing to do, I'm not a fan of at the moment. Like, Man Web, I enjoyed, apart from everyone else did. Kraven looks like it's just going to be a hot mess, honestly. An absolute hot mess. And then what was the other one? There's another one, I think.
Morbius?
Right?
Morbius.
Oh, God.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't say I'm tired of them. I just don't care. Like, they haven't given me a reason to care. Like, I enjoy these Venom movies. They're good shut your brain off movies. Morbius wasn't good. Madam Web I didn't think was too good. I don't know, but there is only technically 3 franchises up until this point. I do think by the time Kraven comes out, I'll be like, okay, now I'm tired of it. But like also in theory, like I think in theory what their idea was like, okay, we're going to do the solo run of villains and then we'll do a Sinister Six movie. Like I think in their mind that was the plan. And if that was the true case, I think that could be cool. Like I think as a concept that works. I don't know. Again, they haven't given me a reason to care.
No, they could choose a better villain, and even if that's the case, like set Spider-Man up in their world. You know what I mean? Don't have to have him at the forefront of the movie, but have him around, have him as a threat. You know what I mean? Like Batman would be.
Yeah. We do Lone Wolf here, Team Eric member. Thank you for continued support, Lone Wolf. I remember telling you Null will apparently reappear in other films. Speculations are here. These will be multiverse villains, so Spider-Man can help. I think that would be fine. I just don't know if I want Tom Hardy to continue after this. I feel like this might be a good time to retire his Venom.
Very good Venom, though.
I think
Yeah,
he will
sure.
after Secret Wars. I think after, like, I do think he's in a Secret Wars. I do think he's one of the players you'll kind
I
of
wouldn't
see.
mind him in Secret Wars. I feel like that's a fair place to
Yeah.
put him, because we do have some Secret Wars stuff coming up right the very next thing we're going to talk about. Cody here, Team Eric member. Thank you for the support, Cody. $5 super chat. I do in fact know that after Craven, a rated R animated Venom is coming from Sony and Seth MacFarlane. I remember hearing about that. Have we got any updates about that?
I heard something. I remember a while ago we heard something, which kind of cool. Like, R-rated Venom sounds great. Animated Venom sounds great, but I've heard no updates or anything.
Speaking of animated, I have to say, I think that because of the quality of the Spider-Verse movies, if they're going to do more animated things in the Sony world, they might want to explore other options for animation so that it's not just that. Because, look, it looks beautiful. I love it. But I think the idea of getting out quality animation in a regular pace is important, and they need to find a way to do that without like stressing out the animators and stuff like that. So
and maybe for the next couple, make it more so one shots. So it's like they can work at, like, you know, obviously these movies are great, but they set themselves up being like, this is a part 1 and a part 2, and we're ending on a cliffhanger. For going forward, they could just be like, here's a, just for example, I don't think they should do this, but like a Gwen Stacy movie. It's on its own, no connection, no cliffhanger. It's just one movie. And then, all right, that's done. Here's Spider-Ham. Here's just a Spider-Ham movie, or whatever you want to do over there. And again, there's so many options. You could do like Ben Reilly. Give Ben Reilly a whole movie. Perfect. Like,
I also feel like you could take the individual, because with the Spider-Verse movies, you're blending like hundreds of different, I was going to say thousands, but like hundreds of different animated styles into that one movie. If you have Spider-Ham as like a Disney-esque, like 2-dimensional animated character, you could do the whole movie in that style and it would work, because that is the way, the world the character came from. So I think they could do, moving forward, if you're not going to be doing so many different animated styles, you could have just a team that can get that out quickly and with quality without stressing them out, built in that world. I think that would be fine.
Sure.
All right, next bit of Twitter shit is Jessica Alba says she's open to returning as Sue Storm Invisible Woman for the MCU. This is her quote. I loved playing the character. I'm a fan of all these superhero stories, and it was a great time in my life. So yeah, if they would have me, sure. And this comes from a People interview, so this isn't some scooper. I think she's saying, if you want me for Secret Wars, I'm ready to come back and work.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, she's one of the only members of her team that's alive.
Okay, I would have taken her over Elektra 1,000,000%.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean,
I feel bad saying it. I had no interest in seeing her. I'm sorry.
So you're not a fan of Jennifer Garner? Is that what you're saying, or just like that Elektra?
Just the Elektra.
I love the Elektra from the Daredevil show, but you know, but look, I think if anybody who has ever worked on a Marvel project, including Jessica Alba, anybody, if there's ever a Hail Mary to get your last chance to play that character, you need to pitch for Secret Wars right now. You need to do an interview and say, I'm ready to work. I will do it. Just bring me back in. Because even if you're in the movie for 1 minute, it's enough that fans will probably share the shit all over the social media. And like, look at what happened with the stuff from Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, the amount of people who just fell in love all over again with Blade and the new Gambit, the Channing Tatum Gambit, like, just being there, even for a short amount of time, you're going to get that internet buzz. And I don't think she's very stupid. I think she's smart about this. Of course she wants to come back, because it's going to put her back in the conversation. You know what I mean? Just like this article is, just like this comment is.
And like, I think they've already used up a certain amount of cameos, and like you know, we already done Hugh Jackman and Toby and, you know, Andrew and a lot of these big ones. So I bet they're now looking towards the more, not obscure characters, but some of these other ones that we haven't done so far. So some of those Fox X-Men casts that we haven't brought in, this one. And I think she's in a very interesting spot, because in her continuity, if it's canon, obviously spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine, if you haven't seen it already, it's been out like 2 months. Johnny and Reed are dead, right? And her continuity, like, they're gone. So unless that's a different continuity, it's just her and Ben left. So that'd be kind of an interesting spot to put them in.
Yeah. So yeah, be very cool. All right, let's see what we got next on the roster here. I don't know what's in these tabs. We're just going to go through them. Oh, more Nova news here. So
Okay.
this is an update. Nova will include both versions of the character. There's actually no. This is not Marvel updates. This is update Marvel. So just so you know, there's a difference. There's no like person attached to this rumor, so we have no idea where this came from. Again, anytime something like this pops up, just know that this is not me saying it's 100% happening. It's just talking about the fact that it is a rumor. Nova will include both versions of the character, and the series will include the Nova Corps. Now, we did talk last week about the Nova Corps and Richard Rider and all that stuff. Question is, my brother loves this character, right? He loves the Nova storyline, the characters. He's really looking forward to what they're doing with this. Are either of you huge fans of Nova or the Nova Corps?
Not
I'll be
huge, not huge, but I enjoy the character. I think he's going to be an interesting addition to the MCU, especially opposite Captain Marvel, because they're both quite brackish characters.
Mm-hmm.
So having two very powerful, strong heads, like that are basically like space police, so talk about jurisdiction and stuff will be very interesting.
Yeah, I've always found the design to be quite cool. It's a very like spacey, almost like retro futuristic design for a character. So I've always quite enjoyed that.
I've only really I'm not as big of a Marvel reader as you guys are, unfortunately. I don't have the time as much as I want. But Nova, from the various cartoons I've seen, he's always been a very cool character. And I was always kind of confused by the fact we're doing him as a TV show. I feel like he's a character that you just want to see on the big screen. You want to see that big budget through, this big budget Space Odyssey-esque kind of character. So the fact that they seem to be very hell-bent on it being a TV show is very interesting to me. Not saying they're not warranted. Green Lanterns is a TV show at the moment. So I'm curious.
I almost think if they're going to do it as a TV show, I'd rather see it as animation.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That would be fine with me. I think animation would be really cool.
Because it wouldn't nerf the character,
Oh, yeah. They wouldn't have to with animation. They could be as powerful as they wanted them to be.
Yeah. But we've had the Nova Corps, though, right? Sorry.
Well, in Guardians, but they never addressed the actual Nova character. So
no, but the cores all died off. So I'd be interested to see how they're gonna retcon that.
Yeah. This is MCU film news. It's another great Twitter account here. The source. So we talked about the Ian Snyder earlier. The source is Daniel RPK. It's another scooper. The Scarlet Witch film is currently in development, but filming isn't expected to start anytime soon. Now, so first and foremost, just get this out there. I love this version of Scarlet Witch. I would love for her to come back and have a film franchise, a film series. I just don't think this is true. I don't think this is real, unless they're going to recast Scarlet Witch. What do you think about this?
I think this specific one's BS, but I don't think it's out of the question at a later point. Right. I do think post Secret Wars, if we're doing kind of a clean slate, restarting storylines, redoing things, perfect time to do a Scarlet Witch movie. Because then you can make her a mutant. Then you can have her connections to her father and her siblings. I think a Magneto family-esque movie would be so cool, and to really dive into the actual comic origins of Scarlet Witch. But I also think it's happening at some point. Scarlet Witch, I'd argue at the moment, out of all the MCU characters that are kind of still somewhat around, she probably has the most popular fan base. People love Wanda. People will show up for a Scarlet Witch movie.
I mean, look at what happened with Multiverse of Madness. That movie did a lot of money. It almost made $900 million for her. I love Doctor Strange, but I think she actually added to that ticket that they made.
Million percent.
Yeah.
But I would put this at 30%, right? Because unless you have Doctor Strange and Clear, right, addressing what they're doing at the start of the Doom movie, right? Then everything that's happening with the magic side of the universe is happening separate to Secret Wars. So Agatha, Mephisto, Dormammu, Doctor Strange, Clear, all of that stuff, potentially Nightmare as well. And then the fact that in episode 1 of Agatha, or 2, they literally wink about Wanda not really being dead. So this is a very, very strong possibility, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very curious where we stand with Wanda post Agatha and then post Vision Quest, because it's rumored maybe Scarlet Witch is somehow involved in the Vision Quest show, which I would not be shocked at all. Like if Agatha ends with them teasing her return, Vision Quest actually bringing about her return, and then where is she around the like Secret Wars, Doomsday kind of era of things.
And I actually think if they were to bring her back, they could properly address all of the damage she did between her series and in Doctor Strange and what it means for her as a character. Because in the comics, Wanda is notorious for just flip-flopping between like being an anti-hero, a villain, a good person. Like it's just all over the map with her. Which is what I like about her. She's a multi-dimensional character, and I think that makes her very interesting. By the way, if you missed it, Lance says, "Hey, besties."
Hello.
Hey, hey.
And he's got a link to the show, so don't even play. Don't play. All right.
Tired.
Yeah.
It's a tired boy.
Next thing on Twitter is Marvel. This is from Collider. This is legit because it's actually from somebody connected to Marvel. So Marvel TV boss Brad Winterbaum wants to make a Ghost Rider Disney Plus series. The Danny Ketch era of Ghost Rider. I think there are a lot of people who would be here for some Ghost Rider. So we're not talking about the Robbie or the Johnny. We're talking about Danny, which was like the big '80s Ghost Rider. With the more like futuristic looking motorcycle compared to the other ones. Okay, Darth, you don't sound happy about this. So I'm gonna let you go first. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, he's like the one I know the least about. So it could be interesting, but honestly, I don't know. I want more. I want Nicolas Cage back. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay.
Okay, I liked those Ghost Rider movies. Okay, hot take. Okay, hot as the flames on his face. They were good movies. The second one,
not so much. The first one I think was good.
They went a whole direction with that I'm not on board with. Okay, but yeah, his performance, like he gave it what he could. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the first one was great. It was great.
Lance has joined us here. He's not actually there. So
Where is it? Or is it Pagey?
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this takes. I don't know. Like, I see this and I think cool, but then I start mourning over my Agents of Shield era, where we were very close to getting that Ghost Rider show with Gabriel Luna, which
I loved his Ghost Rider.
So
loved
good.
it. Yeah.
Perfect. It was like season 4 is like the perfect backdoor pilot for him to get his own show. And like not only that, but he never appeared again in the show. It was like, he would have been so the final season would have been a perfect spot to put him in. They're going through time. You could have easily fit him in. I don't know what his like availability was and around that.
The one thing I loved about Agents of Shield with Ghost Rider, and this goes for all iterations of Ghost Rider, I don't think most people who aren't like hardcore Marvel people understand how powerful Ghost Rider is.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider is one of those characters where when you don't know how to take something out, you just send this guy in and hope that he's on your side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is you send him in because he's got so many ways to defeat creatures that are much, much more powerful than him.
Yeah.
And he's basically, you can't kill him. So it's like you have to use magic to fight him. He's extremely powerful. This is a guy who could fight the Hulk and probably like physically fight the Hulk, like straight up. Like that's how powerful he is.
And
I don't think people get that.
Like in terms of like if you wanted to keep the Shield thing canon, like if you wanted to, it sets it up perfectly because he's a mantle. Like we see that mantle was passed on to him. He could have, if you wanted to go that route, pass it on to the next actor, whoever fresh-faced person you want to bring in to carry on the role.
Yeah, that would be good.
Paige, are you a Ghost Rider fan?
No, I don't really care. But I've actually got a question about him.
Yeah.
What happens if, like, he falls in water? Like, is it...
It's magical fire, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, but I thought, I thought it might, like,
You can't put the water on him and he turns back human. That's
just a squirt gun.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just thought that he might just be, like, a skeleton or something like that, but he's still like,
Could
and
you
then he has to get out of water.
Could you imagine what you look like with just like a skeleton with all that stuff on? That would be hilarious.
I don't know, just
No, like
honest
for example, like if Galactus is attacking the planet, you're like, hey, Ghost Rider, if we get you up to that guy, could you beat him? And chances are he'd be like, yeah, I could probably do it. Like that would be the response. That's just, he's almost a broken character in that way because of what he can do. Especially each Ghost Rider has their own special power, and like Danny Ketch, like the whole fear stuff, like that was all kind of his era of Ghost Rider. Like, yeah, so good.
This is another one though, similar to what we were saying before. I'd say give him a movie. Like I think Ghost Rider is a franchise that could make Marvel
Darth
a
is
lot
shaking
of
his
money.
head like, yeah, absolutely. But they want a Disney Plus series. Come on, 6 episodes. Come on.
I think it depends. Like I don't know. It depends. Like, do you think Ghost Rider would work better in a TV format or a movie format?
Well, we've already seen him in the TV format. We saw him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He worked really well.
You saw 2 movies of him in the movie format.
Well, the second movie wasn't great. The first movie was good. I say good. I mean, it's like a good campy movie. But he works in TV. However, it would be his own series, and it's very similar to She-Hulk, where the special effects are going to cost a lot of money to make him work on a TV show.
How do we feel about an animated movie for Ghost Rider?
I would love animated. I could do animated for
cool.
Ghost Rider.
See, the issue is, as we said, he's a broken character, right? So how are you going to have him dealing with villains of the week?
Yeah.
True. Well, most likely they'll have him dealing with supernatural stuff so he doesn't have like an edge on everything. That's probably what they're going to end up doing. Like demons and ghosts and stuff like that.
Then we talk about the budget, like the budget on that thing.
I remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is when I got so excited about Ghost Rider being on the show, whether it be any iteration of Ghost Rider, when they locked him in a containment unit on the carrier. They said this containment unit was rated to keep the Hulk in, basically. Yeah. And the thing about Ghost Rider, and this again is something most people don't know, is Ghost Rider's power comes from his determination. Like when he has a target, he goes after that target and nothing is going to stop him from getting to that target. So when he was in that cage and he decided he wanted to go after somebody, he's getting out of there. You're not holding him in it. It's not supernatural. It is a man-made thing. He's going to break out of it one way or the other. And that's when I was like, okay, they understand the character. They get it. So I was pretty happy about that. All right, let's see what the next bit of news is here. Here we go. This was good. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is reportedly on indefinite hold. And this comes from Daniel RPK. Thoughts on this?
I guess they saw Thor 4.
I was going to say, isn't like every single one of those Star Wars movies they announced a couple of years ago on hold?
Or being shuffled around.
On hold.
Because this was announced during the like Patty Jenkins roster, right?
And the trilogy for what's his name, Ryan Johnson, and was it the Kevin Feige one as well? It was like Kevin Feige produced Star Wars, and they're all like just on hold. But, on hold.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel a little bit bad for Taika because I do think he's a good director. Like, I feel like he made one bad movie and everyone's like, "Oh, this guy sucks now." It's like, well, he has a whole.
It reminds me of the M. Night Shyamalan stuff, like when he made that one mistake in a film, and then everything after that, they're he sucks, he's awful.
He needs to go back to his standard comedy because he keeps trying to make comedic movies to appeal to Americans. So he got a New Zealander trying to make, and he's trying to like balance the two, but they're different types of because I've always said Thor Ragnarok is mostly Australian, New Zealand, British humor. Like that movie is mostly that type of humor with a bit of American stuff sprinkled in there. But there's things in there that only Australian people understand, or only New Zealand people understand, or only like Commonwealth people want to extend like certain things that are said. Americans probably won't get it, or they won't find it as
I just
funny.
don't understand how he went from making the best Thor movie to the worst Thor movie, because I actually dislike it more than the second Thor movie, to be honest.
I think he just had more control in Thor 4. I think Kevin Feige was very busy with everything in Phase 4 and 5. They're like, yeah, you made a good Thor 3, just kind of do that again.
So he tricked them.
Yeah,
them.
There was no ending, you know what I mean? Like he had to end the movie with it setting up Infinity War.
Sure.
Yeah.
But with Thor: Love and Thunder, like the ending is, well, there's no real ending. It's just like, who knows, that could be the end of Thor as a character, or there's a movie that picks up right where we left off. Like, there's no, you don't really know what's going on after it or where it
I
was
also-
leading to.
Like, I also think Thor 4 would be better if it wasn't like an established thing. Like, if Thor 4 was like an original movie by itself, not on a, in an already established universe that already has its own tone, I think it would have been better. Look at movies like Jojo Rabbit and stuff like that, like a masterpiece. I think that movie's amazing. With Jojo,
But he also,
sorry.
what were you gonna say about Jojo Rabbit?
Yeah, I was
No,
just gonna say like if Jojo Rabbit was in the MCU, wouldn't work, right? Because
No.
that's a completely different tone.
Well,
than
this is where it
everything
comes down to one of the complaints about the MCU is they want directors to have their vision imprinted on each individual project. And I think what we've seen with Phase 4 in particular and some of those adjacent things is that doesn't work. And people don't really want that. They say they do, but they don't. Look what happened with Chloe Zhao and the Eternals. Look what happened with him. Look what happened. Yeah, She-Hulk, Sam Raimi to some degree with Multiverse of Madness. I know some people complain about that as well. They just don't want to see individual visions. They want to complain that they don't want McDonald's, but then they actually do want McDonald's because that's what they want to go back to is Phase 1 and Phase 2 when the movies were less creative and more structured around the MCU formula, as they would call it. And so I actually think that's what Marvel is heading back towards. When we watch the Thunderbolts trailer, I'm going to talk about that a bit as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do think that it does show that people asking for Marvel to do more creative stuff, that's not truly what they want. It's not really what they want.
I think they want the illusion that it's different, but they want the same formula. Like, look at Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, I don't think is crazy different than anything in Phase 1, 2, or 3. It has the same general formula, but it had fantastic action. So like, oh, this is new, this is fresh, this is original. People ate it up, and I think that's kind of what they want more of. Deadpool 3, similar concept, like very similar template to a lot of other MCU movies, but it's with Deadpool and it's rated R this time, so it's new, it's fresh, it's different, but it's really not that different. So I think they want the illusion of new, not necessarily new.
It's funny you say that because I was going to say that Star Wars' issue is they have their Kevin Feige, right? But he just doesn't have the backbone. That's what
Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He just doesn't have a backbone in his vision or what they're trying to do, and just keeps flip flopping all over the place.
Well, I think it's also like Dave Filoni got caught up like in the Disney Plus stuff, so he has to he doesn't get the time. Like Kevin Feige got time to. There's 4 years between Iron Man and the first Avengers, which in hindsight is a small movie when you think about it, in hindsight to or in comparison to what they do today.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars, we're like, oh no, you need to do that in the space of a year and a half. And by the way,
well, the other thing with Taika that's sort of unfortunate is he just lost his show, Our Flag Means Death, which I thought was an amazing show.
Yeah.
And Time Bandits got canceled.
And Time Bandits got canceled after one season. So there's this downward trend for him, and I actually like him. I think he's a really creative person, and I like some of his artistic direction with his movies and TV shows. I just feel like right now he's stuck in a weird spot where Star Wars is struggling because of the fandom right now, and he is one of those offshoot directors that they're just we can't take a risk with this because we want to go back to what we were doing before, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he needs to just get out of the franchise stuff because he's too creative of a person to be in the franchise stuff. No
go
offense
back to Jojo Rabbit.
No offense to anyone that makes the franchise stuff, but they get you because you're very you're more of you fall in line and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you've seen any of Taika Waititi's movies before he got into Marvel and stuff, they're very it's almost like Wes Anderson. If you watch a Wes Anderson, you wouldn't get Wes Anderson to direct a Marvel movie. What the fuck? Just go watch Fantastic Mr. Fox.
But the other thing is Taika's not afraid to bring characters on screen that get sort of trashed on social media. We're talking about representation that is done in a way that isn't just we're gonna talk about it on the red carpet, we're gonna mention it in interviews. He goes all in on it. If you ever seen Our Flag Means Death, he goes all in on actual fleshed out characters from different diverse backgrounds and puts them in as major portions of the story. So you can never accuse him of just tokenizing something or trying to make money off of it. He's very much committed to that stuff. And that's not something we see very often. So I'm glad that he has that in him. I think, Paige, you kind of nailed it there when you said he needs to get out of the franchise stuff. I think that's ultimately what's probably best for him. So,
or stuff that's more independent within the franchise. Like I think maybe what James Gunn is doing over at DC, he could fit in, where he seems like those movies seem to be more independent in their
or an
thing.
Elseworlds movie. They could do an Elseworlds movie.
Perfect.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, let's see what we got next on the list. Oh, Matt Reeves here. This is interesting.
Eric's best mate.
3Dub has arrived. He showed up now because he didn't realize I was starting an hour earlier, I bet. Is that what it was, 3Dub?
Yep.
It's okay. Welcome to the show. You came in right in time for this Batman news. So this is Matt Reeves here talking about the Batman again. Matt Reeves was asked if the Court of Owls will appear in Batman 2. We can't comment on the movie because we're doing the movie, and then you know what the movie we're doing and not what we're going to say that yet. It's a bunch of word salad here. He is pissing off a lot of people the way he's kind of talking in interviews and responding to stuff. What do you think? Do you think he's just trolling people, or what do you think is happening with this, like with these kinds of responses?
Honestly, I think he's kind of right, because the second he announces a character or like the title of the movie, then that's made that like that could be like a whole iconic comic book, and then everyone's like, right, well, I've seen it, I'm not going now. You know?
I also think the Court of Owls isn't very interesting, in my opinion. They're just not. I know a lot of people want to pretend they are because of the whole Talon stuff or whatever, but just overall, I think for a movie, I don't think it's a very interesting story.
It was an interesting thing when it was first in the comics, but like at the end of the day, like it was the things that unravel. And I just at this point, I couldn't care less if they're in the movie or not. Like I don't think it's necessarily that great of a thing to adapt into live action. There's just weird things because it's something where it appeals to the grounded nature, if you want to put it, but then it's got something like the Talon, you know, like or the Talons, I guess. I don't know. And also like it's like there's just other characters which I think, you know,
I realize people in the comments are going to say that they like Court of Owls, and that's fine. I'm not telling you have to dislike them because I dislike them. I just don't find it to be very interesting at all, in my opinion.
I don't necessarily like need the Court of Owls. I could see them fitting in his world if that's kind of the direction he wanted to go. Like I do think they would overall fit his style, I guess.
I think it fits into the whole thing of like the corruption thing, but it's also like is all three movies going to be about corruption?
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. They've already done his family and like the ties that bind that from that. So I want to step away from the Wayne stuff and have Batman detective stuff. That's just solely that.
Sure.
So overall, I think we all sort of feel similarly about this, I think, about the Court of Owls stuff. Let's talk about this. And this one kind of has people torn. And I want to explain why it has people torn. We talked about this briefly last week. I think we've talked about it multiple times over the last couple of years. I am burned out on Batman stuff. I am just absolutely burned out on it. And it's not even just Batman stuff. It is the world of Batman. Like, I feel like it's the only thing DC ever wants to do is Batman. Especially when it comes to video games. Look, I love the Arkham games. I think they're great. But the problem is they've not been able to recapture that magic since that series ended.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's safe. It's safe. Do you know what I mean? Like the Superman game, last time they tried was a bag of trash. They cannot create a Flash game that's going to make everybody happy. A Green Lantern game would be good, but you won't have the imagination of making any constructs you want. It's going to be very repetitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Suicide Squad messed a lot of things up because that did very badly.
I'm playing it now. I enjoy it. I genuinely don't know what everybody's problem is.
Opinions on it aside, if you like it, if you don't like it, it lost them a lot of money. They had to let go a lot of employees. So now they're looking, is DC worth making games about? Okay, which ones are guaranteed successes? Batman. People love Batman. Let's do another Batman game.
Batman to DC is Spider-Man. I mean, that is their Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like it's just been used too much, to be honest. But that's just me.
Yeah, and again, like the other ones that could be marketable are hard to do. Like I think a Superman game could be successful, but how do you do that? Flash could be successful. How do you do that? I think it's going to come down when it comes out, if it still comes out, that Wonder Woman game. If that flops, it's just Batman games going forward, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why we're in the Batman cycle we're in right now, is because of what happened with the DCEU, to be honest. I feel like that's why we're where we are now. Look, I will give it a shot and try it out, but I want... DC has thousands of characters. Thousands of them. Give me a JSA game. I would love a JSA game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give me something else. Like, you're never going to make those properties more popular by only doing Batman. It's literally just never going to happen.
You know what drives me crazy is how close that Avengers game was actually to being good. It was so close. It was so close to being like a really, really good game.
They fumbled the bag on that one big time. Okay, let's talk about some Penguin stuff here, and then we're gonna go over the drama around Penguin and Agatha, which I think is quite interesting. So the Penguin premiere debuted with 5.3 million views across all platforms. It's Max's biggest 4-day audience for a new series since The Last of Us. Now, no spoilers or anything, but this doesn't surprise me at all. This doesn't surprise me at all. I said back, even when I wasn't super interested in it, that I thought it was going to be a big hit. Anybody shocked by this?
No, it's amazing.
No, yeah, it's incredible. I think those are great numbers. I think it's great. But also, what else does Max have? Like, there's not much that
That's true.
they have at the moment that is rivaling the Last of Us.
Because I think The Last of Us was the last thing they had before this came out, probably.
Does House of the Dragon count? I guess.
Maybe. But I think a lot of people watch that on HBO.
Yeah,
to be fair,
that's true.
So I don't know if that matters, but yeah, it's just wild. Like I honestly, again, we just talked about Batman and why they keep pushing Batman stuff. I mean, this is essentially why. But I also want to point out there's a drought for DC, just like there is Marvel at the moment, and everybody is tuning in for these tidbits of that world because we just don't have it right now. I know, Paigey, did you watch Penguin yet?
No,
I knew it. We're not going to talk spoilers of the episode, but anyway, 3W, have you watched it yet? No.
You guys are missing out. What are you doing? Sort your shit out. It's great. It's great. It's really, 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 really good. Honestly, like, how the hell that is Colin Farrell?
Okay.
I still am just bewildered by it. Honestly, it's crazy. That man just morphs into that character.
So I sent this to Paigey because this is funny. This was like the title card somebody had on their Penguin premiere.
That's the
and
Australian
it says
streamer.
The transformation of Oswald Cobblepot from disfigured nobody to a, what does it say? Something gangster.
Noted Gotham gangster.
Noted Gotham gangster. Okay, I just couldn't see that word. Anyway, so it's funny because that's not his name, and he's not Oswald Cobblepot in the show. So it's just funny that was listed on their actual.
Well, here's the thing: he's still called Oswald inside the show. His mom calls him like Oswald. I was like, oh, okay, so he is still Oswald. They just call him Oz, and then just they.
I think Oz Cobb is his nickname because he doesn't like his original name.
Well, we talked about that briefly last week when everybody dropped out, that it didn't make any, like Darren and I spoke about it, that it didn't make sense to change the name when you had a perfect opportunity without spoiling it to come up with a reason why the name is different, but they didn't go that direction. So they just changed it for pretty much no reason at all. And then they get it wrong here on the title card for the show, which I think is pretty funny. All right. So this is the next one. This is from Deadline. And I want to read this all the way through, and then I want everybody's take on this. Okay. So the Penguin won't be called his nickname much in the series, meaning the Penguin. Oz didn't appreciate the term. It felt derogatory towards him. Gangsters and mobs often have these nicknames for people, so it made a lot of sense that his nickname from others would be Penguin, but it's not a term that he embraces. They mostly tried to avoid any features that made the character so distinctive. I wanted to, by the way, they said he had a prosthetic penguin head penis that he had to put on under a suit, but I digress. I wanted to make sure that we could appeal to people who wouldn't necessarily be interested in a comic book show. I don't view our show as a comic book show. I view it more as a crime drama. I have some comments on that. We'll talk about that here in a second. Colin Farrell says there was one particular cutscene where the nickname was used and he wished it had been left in, so he wanted it to be left in. There are kids who say to me, "You're a penguin." And I say, "Yeah, that's right. I got the sense that Oz was actually stepping into the moniker in his own kind of mythos. I like the idea that by the end, he's okay with it. He sees the power in having a moniker like that." Okay, does anybody want to jump in on this before I start to tear into my opinions on this statement? But anybody at all?
That's kind of been the whole universe thus far. Like they have, and I don't necessarily think it's always a bad thing, but they're definitely aiming more for like Oscar buzz and like Emmy buzz and just kind of like that demographic of art house kind of projects.
I agree with that part. Yeah.
Over, comic book fans, and which is fine. Like I think that's why you separate them. Like that's why you have the Batman on his own separate thing. So you can have these art house projects, and then over at James Gunn's world, you can, have Batman and his tights or whatever you want to do over there.
Right.
I kind of expected this anyway, because Darren and I were having a conversation about the wonderful moments in the show. But then we all still know, again, like the mythos of the character and what universe we are in, you know what I mean? And where he's going to be. So I feel like it's only a matter of time, no matter what moments he has, that this is an inevitability.
Anybody else have any opinions on that, or?
I mean, and also like I would be into it if they play into it in the actual show, like they give a good exclamation in the thing where it's like, well, he's insecure about it, like he doesn't like this name,
right?
So like I feel like in universe it could make sense, but do they play with that idea, or did they just, is this an off-screen thing that they just like, is this their excuse for not saying it? Right. Like I'd like a scene where like, hey, Penguin or whatever, and he's like, no, that's not my name, don't call me that. Like that kind of thing could be cool. So we'll see, I guess.
So. Go ahead,
for me, it's kind of weird for him to be called the Penguin, because wasn't the Penguin supposed to have features of a penguin?
In the like the original context, yes, but not necessarily in this universe.
Why would they nickname him the Penguin?
Well, because he waddles around because of a disfigured foot.
He waddles like a penguin.
Yeah, he does.
Weird. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's it's. I'm assuming that it's like a cruel, like, kid nickname for someone that has a disfigurement or something like that. So here's my issue with specifically the statement about, I don't view our show as a comic book show. I view it more as a crime drama, or I view it more as a crime drama. The whole purpose of comic books were to take mundane things and make them interesting in a fantasy perspective. So you would take a crime drama, you would turn it into Batman and the characters in Batman's world to make it more interesting to people who want that type of story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've taken it and go, you know what, we're going to strip it of everything that made it a comic book thing and then turn it right back into the thing that was the inspiration for Batman and the world that Batman existed in.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, and I'm not going to use the word disrespect, because I don't think you can really disrespect a thing, but it sort of tarnishes and diminishes what the source material was in a way that makes me feel weird about it. Because am I supposed to be ashamed of being a comic book fan when I'm watching this? Is that the implication? Because he said I wanted to make sure we could appeal to people who wouldn't necessarily be interested in a comic book show.
I think,
in what world is someone going to tune into a Batman show called The Penguin, which, by the way, is a very well-known Batman character, and not be aware that it is a comic book show?
I think it won't, like, they won't, the normal people that go see like the Batman and not realize they stripped the comic bookness out of it out, I don't think they would know.
So you're saying that they don't want cross-promotion between the show and the movie?
No, he's saying that that's already what the movie's done.
Yeah,
right. But my point is, then they're already comic book fans. So who are they trying to pull in?
Normals.
What does that look like, though? What reality is someone going to see a show called Penguin and not wonder what that show is and look it up and go, oh, by the way, this is a Batman character? Like, who's going to do that?
Good question.
Unfortunately, people, I assume, like people that they're trying to, like, again, like I see a show, like I feel like a lot of those HBO shows are like designed to do well at the Emmys and get high.
No, I'm agreeing with you on that one. But what I'm saying is, I think the Penguin and this entire franchise that it's in is too big for someone to not be aware of what it is they're going to watch.
Sure.
That's my argument. And I'm not saying that's going to be everybody, but is there a massive pocket of the population that just completely knows nothing about Batman that's going to be excited about a show that they have no idea what it is?
Yeah.
Like they're going to click on it and see the picture of this guy called the Penguin, and
I think the point of
you know
it
what I
is,
mean?
I think the point of what he's saying is that he was focusing on the crime element of it rather than worrying, oh, this is a comic book movie about a guy called Penguin. Should I have a couple of penguins in the back?
I think it's more about him trying to just focus in on the character and not trying to do this like forced world building, which a lot of times when you see with comic book properties, that's what they do. They'll be like, oh, well, I'm making, whether it is about the Penguin or it's about this character or that character, they feel they have to force themselves into it. But if you focus on the character in his own immediate world, then it allows for a better show.
No matter
because I think you'd have to have bleeding to the brain. You'd have to bleeding to the brain to think that there's even a slice of the pie. So more than 1% of people that are tuning into the Penguin, they have no idea or the affiliation to the Batman. Not the Batman the movie, but the character of Batman.
The whole point of the Joker movie is to trick the fans to watching a movie that isn't really about the Joker. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the thing. 5.2 million people watched it in America. There's 350 million people in America. So you're already dealing with the slice of people that want to watch it. You don't have to go out of your way. It's not like it got 10 million or something, and you might have gotten a million of like people going, "Oh, I have no idea what this is."
I just don't understand this idea of being ashamed of the source material that you're working so hard on.
And I think it's that, like, I do think that's the whole thing, is like, there is still, to this day, as popular as it is now, a stigma against comic books. There's people that look at comic books and be like, that's a kid thing, or that's a nerd thing. Or
And I want to be team this show because I think it's a really solid series, but I really hate I feel like the people behind this show do not respect me as a fan of Batman.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I don't know if that matters ultimately from a viewing perspective, if it affects the art that I'm watching. I don't think it does for me personally, because I did enjoy it. But it makes me wonder, like, why did they get involved in this in the first place? Like, what was the reason behind it?
I honestly hate when they try to make fictional characters real. Because, you know, like, if, like, Superman was, like, basically real, he would be, like, he wouldn't have powers.
I would argue that he wants it even more grounded than Nolan. I really feel like he wants it to be literally a person in a bat suit running around, and he thinks that means that the Penguin can't be outrageous. But you already have a motherfucking person dressed up in a bat suit with batarangs and a Batmobile. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break.
But Danny DeVito's Penguin ain't going to work in this show.
But I wouldn't want that. What I'm saying is, I think that the idea that he doesn't want to use Cobblepot, he doesn't like the name The Penguin, he doesn't want to make this for fans of comic book stuff. Like, all of that feels like a disdain for the source material. Not him wanting to do his own spin on it, but like he actively doesn't like the campy parts of Batman, this is why I'm hoping that the DCU Batman dives into it. I want that again. We have had so many grimdark versions of Batman and Gotham. Yeah. I want something a little bit more akin to the comic book stuff.
Ever since Nolan, it's kind of like they want to copy his tone, which
absolutely 100%.
It's like,
and who wouldn't? They were billion-dollar movies. I get
Dark
it.
Knight is my favorite movie, but you know, Batman Begins didn't like hit for me, and the Dark Knight Rises didn't hit for me.
I want to see Batman in gray and blue running around with a yellow batarang.
I like them all. So
Eric, I need Eric to shut up. That's why I said Eric. Also, you look similar. Did you just say you don't care for Batman Begins?
I don't like
No. 3 Dubs.
Oh,
3 Dubs. Sorry.
No, you're 3 Dubs. Said that.
It's because I don't like the Ra's al Ghul, for instance. I don't like that they did him a little dirty. I also, because I thought it was the one that was sitting in the chair at the beginning, and I like that.
When he was going for the training and everything. Okay.
Yeah, when he was going for the training, I like that. But then it turned out to be him. I don't want to mess up his name, but it turned out to be that guy. I'm like, that was a downer.
Liam Neeson? Is that
I thought Liam Neeson was a different character. And then the other thing I didn't like was the constant previous. If it was Batman Begins, it should have like had the whole story.
Ooh,
of him.
It feels like the chat is on 3Dub's side, Pagey. Feels like the chat is on 3Dub's side.
Should have been like the origin story of how he how his parents died and stuff, and then his when he was going to shoot the guy in the courtroom. That should have been like all in one, like 30 minutes.
Mm.
And then his time, it felt like
I want to hear Pagey's rebuttal to this. Go ahead.
It kept feeling like Arrow, basically.
Oh wow!
Where they did the flashback to Leah and you. No, I mean that was awesome. Arrow was awesome because it fit within the story. But with Batman, his origin. It didn't feel like Batman Begins because Batman Begins.
Chat, I want you to say, who do you agree with, Page or 3Dub? Answer right now. Page
very, 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 very boring. It didn't feel like.
I will say the movie did what it said. Batman Begun in the movie.
I would say Batman Begins happened right at when he got on the plane when he was talking to Alfred, going, "I need to be a symbol."
Okay,
that's when Batman began.
Pagey, thoughts on that? Pagey, thoughts?
I know. You want to go rewatch it, mate. That's the only thing I can think of. It sounds like you're going off like some.
Now, the Dark Knight was awesome. My favorite Joker. So
I think arguably Batman Begins is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight's a great movie. I think it's the best movie with Batman in it.
Sure.
But I think both of them, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, are better than The Batman.
Remember
not Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises shit's the better bit. But it's still.
But yeah, I like that you agree with me about Dark Knight Rises because we both agree.
Yeah, but I think most people think that way. I think at least people know it's like the weakest of the three.
I think it's the best one.
I think.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think Tom Hardy did an excellent job with making the voice of Bane, but that's about it.
No, the biggest issue with The Dark Knight Rises is that Nolan clearly didn't care. He's doing it because his contract was there, and he wanted to do his next movie at Warner Brothers. They're like, no, you've got to finish the trilogy, man.
Silhouette.
You know how you know that as well? Because guess what? He's not set up at the end of The Dark Knight, the next movie. They don't set up The Dark Knight Rises while Batman Begins sets up The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So remember the Nickelback ad for Silhouettes?
I was young, so I didn't really like
Someday, it was that one.
Notice things.
I just, another thing that's bothered me about this, and I'm going to bring this up on screen now, is this is the creative team actively saying that this isn't made for comic book fans, that they're trying to reach another audience. But then you have stuff like this being said, and we talked about this also. Agatha All Along is not a show made for Marvel Comics fans or men in general. So why is it that Agatha, who is not that show, the creative team behind that show has never said that they aren't made for comic book fans?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What?
I thought this was an official interview or something with the showrunners. I wasn't looking at the screen, so I was like, okay,
no.
Whatever they said that.
No.
All men in general.
But why is it that you can have the actual creative team behind the Penguin come out and say, we're not making this for comic book fans. We want this to be grounded, blah, 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 etc. Crickets about that from all of these guys. But then Agatha All Along is not advertised that way at all. And they're like, oh, this isn't for comic book fans. Why is it that they get attacked for that, but then when the creative team behind Penguin literally says it, they don't say anything about it?
What's funny is one of his comments
Won't get engagement.
One of the comments down below when he was talking about on this post, he basically said that he watched it just to be sure. I'm like,
I'm just saying, like, it's pretty obvious to me that there's some sort of narrative being creative when you're like basically going, oh, I'm going to ignore the fact that the showrunners for the show that I've talked positively about admit that they're not making it specifically for comic book fans, but then I'm going to attack a show saying that it's not made for comic book fans, even though they've never advertised it that way. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Also, okay, we'll get into the drama here in a second. We have a super chat from Cody. $5 super chat goes, it's so insane to me how the Al Ghuls have been whitewashed every single time. I recently learned that Bruce is Jewish. They have to do better. Go ahead, 3W.
This is one of the reasons why, like me now, I like Batman Begins when I was younger. Now that I've watched it,
Batman Begins.
but I watched it again, I did not like that.
Vote in the poll. It's almost over with.
But I think what would be cool is if James Gunn actually casts, if he does rouse our goal to cast a comic book accurate one, and also go back to the blue suit.
That's what I want. I want the blue and gray suit. Somebody was making fun of me in the chat, and they were like, "Oh, you want like the Tim Burton era?" I think they were making fun of me, and if they were, hats off to you. But even if you were making fun of me, I don't necessarily want it to be that again. But I want something that feels more like it's from the comics, because every other superhero in DC looks like they're getting a comic book version of themselves. I want them to do the same thing with the world of Batman. I don't want them to pull it back on it. And that's been the reason why a lot of people said that Matt Reeves' Batman would not fit in the DCU, because it doesn't feel like it belongs in that world. So give me something other than grim, dark, street level, boring ass Batman that we've seen a million times. Give me something bigger than that. That's all I'm asking for.
The Tim Burton one felt like, I assume it's all rubber. I'm like, that's technically not very much protection. I would say like the Batman felt more like Arkham-ish, where it's more all tech, which I actually didn't mind, because it gave me a perspective of how he was a detective, because he had these eye contacts that he took out and put him, and we watched what he saw, so he could
Before we move on, Batman white eyes, yes or no, in live action movies?
I think
eyes or not?
It's time, because it really worked with. I didn't think it would work, but it really worked with Wolverine.
Anybody else have an opinion on that? Yes, no.
Sure.
What worked?
Oh, Darth, you're muted, by the way. You're muted.
Oh, the white eyes. The white eyes. No, I think the only characters that type of stuff works with is Deadpool and Spider-Man. If you can see their face, then no white eyes. It looks stupid. I think Wolverine looks fucking dumb.
Wow.
In Deadpool and Wolverine.
But it's a cowl. It's a cowl. You're only seeing his mouth.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It takes it out, but it works with Deadpool. It works with Spider-Man. That's why with Batman, no. But with like Batman Beyond, I think, where it doesn't have to cover his full face and stuff, you could do it then.
Yeah. I think it should happen when he's in like
Deathstroke. If they cover the whole thing and they make it like it is a white eye or something with Deathstroke, but when you can see the mouth and everything like that, and there's clearly it just doesn't work for me. It looks a bit silly.
Like you said, if you see the mouth, what about like when he's in the shadows?
Yeah, but then when he comes out of the shadows, I'm like, oh, it looks fucking stupid again.
No, when he comes out of the shadows, it disappears.
Oh,
so what is it? Glow in the dark?
It's night. It's like night vision.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, night vision's like one way. It's not two.
Well, no, what we see is white, but what he sees is green.
Oh, okay. So we can.
Why would he want to see green?
But he has night vision.
Because that's what night vision is.
Just eat some more carrots or something like that. I'm sure
let's do some super chats here. Then we're gonna end the poll. So what an animator with a $5 super chat. I got a dead name for you, Penguin. Evil cop from Gotham Knights. Yeah. Does anybody miss Gotham Knights? Anybody want that show to come back for season 2?
No.
Oh,
I think he's talking about the game.
Yeah, I know, but it made me think of the TV show. It made me think of the TV show is all. So
I mean, don't bring it back, but I would have liked to have seen it do more. Or
sense.
in this era where we didn't have much DC, I would have liked a second season.
By the way, Gotham Knights game, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Played it.
It was alright.
You never played it, Pagey?
No, it looked shit, so I didn't get it.
Oh,
damn. It was very predictable, but it was nice to play with members of the Bat family that weren't Bruce.
Oh, can I tell you an embarrassing story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was taking my dog for a walk, not last night, the night
Wow,
before.
that's embarrassing as hell. Okay.
And it was like,
wow,
it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and there's like no one around. So I thought no one's. And there's like down where I am is like there's like the beach, and there's like these like huts where you have like picnics and stuff, or just like eating areas with like these benches and stuff.
Mhm.
And the lights were off there, so I didn't think anyone was there. But anyway, so I'm walking the dog, and I'm trying to get him like excited because if he gets the zoomies and stuff, then he usually takes a shit afterwards. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get back. I'm tired. So I start going to him like, just give me my money. I just start saying that to him because that gets him riled up. I'm just like, just give me my money. And I'm saying that to him constantly. He does the shit. I look up, there's a guy sitting down staring at me. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, I thought you were doing the TikTok thing. He's like, oh, what is this?
No, he just thought I was an idiot saying, just give me my money. Some old dude. Must be like 60.
He probably did he hand you money? Did he give you $1?
No, he was just looking at me, and I just went, oh, opposite direction.
That would be great if he would have gave you actual money. That would have been perfect. They would have felt like it was worth it.
I don't know if I want to be panhandling at 10 o'clock in a deserted place, but anyway.
The reason why I kind of like dislike Gotham Knights is because, for one, the mystery didn't work because you could guess who the owls were because of their hairstyles. They weren't really hiding it, and having the same actor playing in the same episode as two different characters, one of a Court of Owls and one of his like the billionaire or whatever, wasn't the smartest idea.
There were a lot of dumb ideas on that show. So.
Yeah, and killing Batman in the first episode. No.
By the way, Eric,
Just
is it McDonald's monopoly over there at the moment in America?
Oh, I don't know. I have to go look.
It's here.
It's okay. So yeah, it's over here as
it's
well.
It's probably around the whole world. I think they do it everywhere at the same time. So
except America,
maybe. Michael here with the $5 super chat. Any team member? Thank you so much. Michael says Liam Neeson is less than mid.
No,
you don't like all of his Taken movies and stuff. You don't like.
I was gonna say like a super cut of Ra's al Ghul taking like 8 shots to climb a fence.
I will find you.
Yeah, like in general, like as an actor or as Ra's al Ghul? Because
I think he's saying as an actor because he says Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's actor.
No, Liam Neeson's good. He's arguably got the best cameo in a movie.
Wait, is he good or is he mid, Paige? Because we know the rumors that you say mid about everything. So
no, he's good. Wait, so do you want me to list a mid actor?
Yes.
Ooh, mid actor. Easy. Might trigger some people. Easy, probably the most mid actor of all time.
Don't say Henry Cavill.
No, Al Pacino.
Oh, okay. Oh wow!
I don't even know who that is.
Jeez,
he played Falcone in the Batman.
Yeah. No worries, Lone Wolf. I thought you were kidding. I don't take that stuff seriously.
What?
I agree.
Okay. So the controversy. Well, actually, let's do the poll first. Let's see who people voted is right in the poll.
The only thing I know from is Transformers.
He didn't play Falcone in the Batman.
Oh, look at the poll.
What's
3
the
up,
poll?
55%, Pagey 44%.
What was this for?
About Batman Begins. Is it good or is it?
Oh, no, that's good because majority of people in the world are dumb. So I'm in the
wow.
minority, so I win.
All right. Wow. Okay. Well, there we go.
Okay, so the joke is that there was a guy online that thought Al Pacino was John Turturro in the Batman, and it went like viral. I thought people would have got done to that joke.
What was the
It was 55% for you. So.
Yes.
You're wrong though. I will say you are wrong.
Well, 55 disagree with you.
I don't know. I will stand on.
There was 22
Pagey's side.
There was 22 votes. Half of them were still for Pagey. You got a little over half.
Wait, Eric, I have to ask. Darth Bunny, what does your shirt say first? I'm always interested when people have text on their shirt.
It says, "I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up."
Oh,
okay. I was going to say I'm the daddy or something. That's all good. But, no. Eric, do you have that shirt that's the "I'm sexy and I know it"?
No. Why would I have?
Okay, no, because I swear. Maybe I was watching a stream and someone had that type of shirt. It was like the one that like the LMFAO music video, like the "I'm sexy and I know it." And someone was wearing it like unironically, and for some reason I thought it was you. You know when you have those moments where you flash back to something, you just think. Yeah, I thought you were the one that had that.
Definitely
shirt.
wasn't me though. Definitely wasn't me.
Yeah.
So
no, I just
Michael-
saw that because Daft Punk. I just saw the I'm, and I'm like, surely Daft Punk's not wearing the I'm sexy, and I know it's shit.
No.
all right, so Michael's putting up $10 as an
Wow.
actor, and I say this with my whole chest. So
It
he's
must
talking
be
about
true
Liam
then.
Neeson. He is
Well, actually,
less
technically,
than
Michael, now it's $15.
That's true. That is true. Somebody wanted me to name a mid actor. Let me.
No. Serenity. Speaking of John Turturro, go watch You Don't Mess with the Zohan. That is arguably the best John
I
Turturro
love
movie.
that movie. I love that movie.
I love that
Oh
movie.
my
I'm gonna watch
God.
that when we're done tonight. I have the DVD. I'm gonna watch that when we're done.
Oh my
Well, I
god!
know one.
The Phantom. He's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually know a
Um,
mid actor that I would pick.
It was
So I watch Snow Dogs. I love Snow Dogs, but Cuba Gooding Jr. is a mid actor.
oh
Well, yeah, and he also
cool.
he also bashes women, so that's probably a good reason not to.
So maybe he's less than mid.
Yeah.
I think he does. I might think of the
actors who've
wrong
been
guy.
canceled.
I swear it was Cuba Gooding Jr. I might be wrong there.
Um,
Do you know what's crazy?
He was.
I feel bad saying this, but I can't see James Franco as any other person than James Franco. Like, even when he's in whatever role he is in, it's just like, oh, that's just James Franco.
How do you know James Franco? Do you meet him?
No, you donkey. I'm just saying. Like, I don't see him in the role. I'm just watching James Franco.
I'll tell you what, though. The interview is hilarious. I rewatched that like about a month ago or something. Do you remember when that like almost started World War III and like North Korea was literally gonna like bomb America over it?
yeah, the movie was okay. It wasn't super funny. It was just okay.
It's funny. Eric,
I-
don't stand there and go, "Oh, it's not that funny."
Okay. You know who I think is mid? I just thought about this. I think they're mid, but they're in funny movies. Is Vince
Give us a
Vaughn.
clue. Vince Vaughn.
Oh, really?
But he's not really. I mean, I can't remember the last. I mean, the last Vince Vaughn movie I remember watching was what, Hacksaw Ridge, and that obviously isn't a comedy, but it's the last thing.
No, I
remember
mean,
him
he's got
being
some
in.
good roles, but I think overall, like if you look at everything he's done, he just falls in that mid category.
Yeah, but he plays like the straight man almost in comedies, like where he reacts like old school and like dodgeball and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think that like in for me though, that's it. Kind of teeters on him being that person. If he's not that person, I think the role kind of falls apart for him. So.
Well, and also, Eric, by the way, what are your thoughts on the fact that Todd Phillips is the orgy guy in Old School and has now directed the 2 R-rated Joker films? I didn't realize that was Todd Phillips all the
I
time.
never thought about
I knew
that.
he directed it.
And
then I was like,
that, but
I was watching Old School, and like after seeing all the things with Joker, I'm like, is that Todd Phillips? He's like the dude with the afro rocks up for the orgy. I'm like, oh shit, it is.
So I made a video earlier today where I talked about the fact that people were losing their minds about Agatha All Along having a musical number in it. And
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
I figured out a hack with Disney Plus. You fuck it off for 2 months and don't resubscribe, and then they go, come back, and they give you 3 months for the price of one.
oh my god.
So that's why I just leave it for 2 months when I know nothing's coming on. Then I get it back and I get 3 months for the price of one. Might just be Disney Australia. I'm not
So
too sure.
yeah, Paige, you'll probably say that it did start the Sony hack.
No, it was a part of the Sony hacks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Maybe.
Wasn't it
I don't
a part
remember.
of it?
All of that time period sort of blends together for me. So the drama around Agatha All Along having a song in it ties in with a lot of criticism over The Acolyte having a song in it. And so they're trying to compare those two things together, going, this has to be bad because we thought this was bad.
Yeah.
Completely forgetting that the name of the show, Agatha All Along, is based on the fucking song from the first season that she was in on WandaVision that made her a popular character.
That's why it exists. Yeah. And also, just like, it's a pretty known fact that, like, in witch lore, song is such an important part of their thing. Like
Yeah.
you know, most witch media, they're singing songs, they're doing anthems. Like that's the whole and just the premise of the tweet's so stupid. Like it reads off like they've seen one project. Like they only watch things that revolve around them making stuff on it. So it's like, oh, this has a song just like that show. So you mean just like Wizard of Oz and you know all of these shows through histories that feature magic and stuff. Like it's stupid.
It's just like it's a try hard complaint. Like this is when they don't have a lot to complain about. This is the kind of stuff they go to.
Yeah,
you know.
it
And
made me laugh because they've run out of things to complain about. They're like, oh,
the video
shit.
that I made was out of just like this exasperation of like I'm preparing for them to complain about some real stuff, and they always lean in. At least recently, they lean into the stuff that's just completely not an issue at all. Besides that, if you like Disney stuff and you're complaining about a song being in one of their shows, it's like, what are we talking about here? It's fucking Disney. Okay, we have a couple more things, then we're going to move into the major topics. We're an hour and a half in. So, Silhouette Animator with the $2 super chat. I'm sexy and I forgot it shirt needs to be made. I will make that and put it up on my Teespring. I will do that. And then I will put your name, like suggested by Silhouette Animator. So that'll be funny. And this is about the Agatha thing. $2 super chat. Thank you again. I love the song reminding me of Incubus Succubus band. Well, I don't know much about that, but I will check it out. But again, a song on a show that has a character that's known for singing a song is nothing to complain at. Like literally, you have to be dumb to think that that's an issue. Furthermore, it like you said, Darren, it's appropriate. Witches conjuring things. That's why the two things were similar between the acolytes. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right. So this is the last bit of Twitter stuff that we're going to talk about. So this one is interesting. Apparently, Lady Gaga is throwing out popcorn. I'm not going to play the audio, but giving out popcorn at the screening of Joker Folie Deux. So, any final thoughts on this movie? I think there is another trailer coming out or something maybe recently. They keep releasing trailers for this. Any thoughts on this? Are we dead set on this just being like good, bad? What are our thoughts on this in general?
I don't know. It's coming out.
You think it's going to make $1 billion? That's a better question. You think they're going to make $1 billion?
I mean, probably. I mean, you can never say no, but it probably depends how that public, opinion is off that first week. It's probably going to go just below it. I think might hit like 800 maybe, but it wouldn't surprise me if you hit $1 billion at the same time. But I think it'll probably land around 800 mil.
Okay, that's fair.
I've kind of just become like I'm someone that was relatively really excited for this one, but I've kind of just become tired of the marketing at this point. It's like, oh, okay, it's coming.
It's too much. It's too
much.
Let's
just get it. Like I'm kind of at a point where let's have it out. We'll watch it. We can move on to the next.
Would you say you're more excited for Kraven or Joker?
Oh, Joker all day. But if you throw in Venom 3, that might be a tougher one because I am kind of excited for Venom 3.
All right, here's an interesting quote. Mad Men star Jared Harris says no thank you to playing Dumbledore in HBO's Harry Potter series. Jared's father, Richard Harris, was the original Dumbledore actor. Also, why do it? I don't understand. The films are fantastic. Leave them alone. This is from Variety. Any thoughts on this quote? Any opinions on this?
I mean, not on the first half, but I don't know. This is the same argument we've had for the last like 50 years. Like, why is there a new Batman? That Batman was great. And it's like, yeah, but if you we do this every time there's a new something whatever coming out. But it's like, yes, but if you had that attitude going into the last one, you wouldn't have had your favorite version of those characters. Like, this is the first time they're redoing Harry Potter. I know it's tough, but it's how these big franchises evolve. It's how they grow. It's how they maintain their audience. Because if not, in 50 years, no one's going to know what Harry Potter is. Like, I don't know. And it's not even like they're redoing the movies. They're redoing it in a new medium that we've never seen before.
Yeah. Like, I think the thing with the Harry Potter thing is that like it's going to be rough like the first two. If hypothetically, if we're thinking that each season is a book, which I don't know how that's going to be possible once you get to some of those later things, but they'll figure it out, I guess. But if we assume like season 1 is book 1 and season 2 is book 2, those first 2 seasons are like, there's not much different. It's really, I guess, that they nailed the casting and they nailed whether it's with the kids or the other actors and stuff like that. And it's just interesting to watch. And of course, updated VFX. Like, I'm excited to see Quidditch in the earlier films where Harry's actually playing Quidditch, and there'll be more Quidditch, which I'm looking forward to.
Okay, that's fair.
But there's just things where like those first 2 things, like the books are pretty like, especially the first one, like outside of some minor things, the first one's incredibly accurate, and the second one's like for the most part accurate. It's when you get to like the third book where they start leaving stuff out, and then of course when you get to like the fourth, that's when like you're missing like 3/4 of the book, and all the subplots are gone and stuff. So that's where the TV show will excel. It's just whether the kids are believable, like you buy into them, and everyone's like, why can't we just de-age Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and stuff? It's like, well, one, the technology doesn't exist. So I'm looking forward to it, but in regards to like once we get past those growing pains, or not growing pains, but just those initial stages, because there's not going to be that much new stuff outside of it looking a bit better VFX wise.
Right.
I understand on one extent because of that.
I think it wasn't like a smart idea to do it so close to the Fantastic Beast films, because they're basically in the same world. So it's kind of like,
but that's the issue. That's why they're doing it, because people want Harry Potter. They don't want Newt Scamander. Like that worked. I think that first Fantastic Beast movie is on par with the other Harry Potter movies. I think it's a great movie. It's just that was what it should have been. That was it. And then they should have done something else. But Warner Brothers was like, no, that first one really worked. Let's do more of them.
I worry that how iconic the whole thing was. Anything like the fact, especially the TV show, is just all gonna feel like Harry Potter light or diet. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna feel like the budget version.
Yeah, like the only thing they could improve on is like the characters that didn't appear in the movies that are like big in the book, or have like minor things, like minor things, and then also even just like regards like being more accurate to how they look and stuff like that, for whatever thing that might be. But
God help who praise Harry Potter. God help them.
I honestly wonder if it has like the reason why they're going with a reboot now is because it's controversial for Ezra Miller and Johnny Depp to be in it.
Well, Johnny Depp was already gone, and Ezra Miller.
Well, he was fired.
Didn't Ezra Miller's character die in the third one, or am I missing? Or did he went away, like he wouldn't have been in another movie or something like that?
Those movies also didn't do that well, right? Like I feel like they weren't.
The third one didn't do very. The first one did good. The second one did decent. The third one didn't. Yeah. Which is weird because the second one's the worst one. The third one's the third one's mid. I know I use that term, but there you go. Sure. The third one's mid. The second one's not very good. The first one's very good, in my opinion.
Like between the second and third one, wasn't there all that Johnny Depp drama?
Yeah.
The Johnny Depp drama was sort of happening like around the time the second one was coming out, I think, from memory. Like he'd filmed it and everything. It was like as it was coming out.
Yeah. And then 3 happened.
Yep. I think the reason why the third one didn't do so well is because there was no Johnny Depp. So.
That's probably true.
Sure.
All right, one more thing, and then we're going to watch some Thunderbolts here. So the next topic is from Twitter, and it is The Chosen over on CW Network. The Chosen is a series about the life of Jesus Christ will be turning into a cinematic universe, and these are the spinoffs. A Joseph limited series, a 3-season Moses series. I'm so excited. I don't know how any of these stories end. An Acts of the Apostle series. A Jesus animated series that follows Jesus' interactions with children in the wild.
The JCU.
It's got Paul Walter Hauser is starring. So I don't even know what that's going to be. Any thoughts on this?
I will say that it makes sense. There's a lot of books in the Bible, but like, it's kind of funny to call it a cinematic universe,
right? A cinematic universe. That's nuts.
First of all, it's not cinematic because it's on TV. But
the Chosen is like a movie thing first, like, and then goes to. So it's sort of made for theaters.
So it starts out in movies. Then it starts out in the theaters.
And then it's made for theaters, and they do like a limited run.
So
and
it's like Inhumans.
Yeah, it was in my theater last Christmas, and I was like, "That's weird." After seeing it on the CW, I didn't watch it, but like seeing it, on.
And we're getting a sequel to Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, that's
oh my god!
Somehow Jesus returns.
Yeah, this is wild.
Oh no, I'm assuming no one else here went to a religious school.
No,
okay.
I went to church growing up, but I didn't go to school. Okay.
I went to Catholic school. We had to watch Passion of the Christ, and
did you?
Like that? Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a pretty
good luck
religious
to them on this one.
Nothing but like childhood trauma. Enjoy your class.
Go ahead, Darren. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh no, it's fine. I didn't have much else to say.
Let's see. All right. So we're gonna pull this up from Joe Blow movies. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're not doing Joe.
Just the trigger pagey.
I actually wish I could find it on Joe Blow because then I would do it just because Paige is here. But we'll see.
And I knew it.
Look, good luck to them with this like franchise from The Chosen. I wish them the best of luck, but I don't know if the market's big enough. Maybe it is. I mean, there's a lot.
It is.
That's why they
Right.
keep making it. That's why it
This
goes
is
to
the crazy
theaters.
thing. I'm surprised. Like now that we've said it, I'm so surprised it's already not a thing.
I agree
Because-
with that. I agree with that.
Like the amount of like big Christian people that are there that are creatives. I'm surprised they all haven't like bandied together and put a project together already.
Well, they've
Yeah.
done similar stuff. Like they've done TV shows based on certain books in the Bible and stuff like that. But like they even have like I don't know. Again, I grew up in like a Christian household. I also thought about that. But like you have entire streaming services dedicated.
We lost
to,
the
like,
Arrowverse for this.
we had entire streaming services dedicated to the Arrowverse. They even announced that like Chick-fil-A streaming service recently, and I was
I'm
like,
curious to see what that's going to
Oh.
be because we talked about it on here, but I'm interested in what the first thing we're
Just
going to
the
see.
inside of their
Chosen.
oven.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. All right, so this is as always. I always do this before we watch trailers. If this is not here, if you're watching on Playback, it's gone. It's because YouTube came along and slapped my hand, so you got to remove it. But all the commentary will be included, so you'll hear all of our thoughts, so you can go watch it yourself. But this is the teaser trailer for Thunderbolts with an asterisk still next to the name. We don't see why that is here.
They
but
made
it's
it
gonna be
completely
interesting.
obvious too. It's like there was like Thunderbolts, and then there. Oh,
Yeah.
by the
Oh,
way, it's-
I will say, just
Oh.
every reaction channel I've talked to, their videos have got blocked with the trailer in it. So
Yeah.
Right, because one of the titles I saw. Okay, it might be teasery. We'll get to it after. Okay. never
Well,
mind.
the thing is, what I'm going to do here is we're going to watch the whole thing and then we'll talk about it because if it is going to get blocked, like Darren says, which I think it probably will, I want to be able to remove it without cutting up our commentary. So we will watch the whole thing and then we'll jump back and like look at scenes or whatever. But here we go. So it's Thunderbolts. We're doing this for the viewers because it's definitely going to get removed. But here we go.
I click leave on porch. I click leave on porch.
Okay.
Your subordinates will be reported to DoorDash HQ.
Alexi, it's me. Open up.
Oh, he got
Elena?
big. Look at this arms and chest now.
Elena!
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about the wait. It was on an important call. Highly classified. Lot of work. Many irons in fire.
You feel fulfilled?
Oh yeah, yeah. So full, so filled. But what? Yes, this. What brings you here?
that's really cool.
There's
Yeah.
something wrong with me.
You just hate me because
I'm just drifting, and I don't have purpose. I thought throwing myself into work was the answer.
Jeez.
With your feet on the air.
U.S. agent. Taskmaster. Ghost.
Oh no.
Who are you?
Sentry.
I'm Bob.
Who sent you, Bob?
Nope. You were all sent?
Everyone here has done bad things. Shadow ops. Robbing government labs. Contract kills.
Yeah, so?
So, someone wants us gone.
Uh-oh.
We're brought up with this
Bow.
belief that there are good guys and there are bad guys.
What's the plan?
This could get messy.
Ooh. Oh shit.
Eventually, you come to realize that there are bad guys and there are worse guys and nothing else. Look at you. So adorable.
Don't worry, she's bulletproof. What happened to bulletproof? It's bulletproof-ish.
Is that Bucky?
That's not good.
Okay. All right. Now that we got that over with, it's probably going to get removed. So if you're watching this on playback, the trailer was gone. Go watch it and then come back over here. Holy shit.
Wow.
My excitement for this movie went from I'm interested to I'm ready for this fucking movie right now. And we didn't even get to see the big stuff because we know Sentry is in this movie. And so we're talking some crazy stuff is probably going to be going on. Yeah. And I love so many of these characters and I hate some of these characters like US Agent. So it's going to be interesting seeing them work together. So for me, we talked about this earlier and I said we're going to cycle back to this. This feels like the Marvel formula coming back around. This feels like the Marvel formula. You got the jokes in it. You got the action. Everything is very fast paced. I love all of these characters. I actually feel more excited for this than I do for Captain America 4. And I hate to say that because I love Sam. But this to me looks extremely interesting. It looks unique. It looks different, but it's still that Marvel formula.
I also think it helps this trailer. I think for the first Marvel trailer in a long time, where I'm like, I know the plot. I can see this trailer and I know exactly the movie is going to be. Like you look at Deadpool, you look at Ant-Man. It's like I don't know anything about those movies. Where I think this trailer is like, okay, here's what our movie's going to kind of be about. Here's the vibe. Then you can decide if you're into it or not. Where Captain America, I was like, I don't really know what that movie's about. Like we know nitpicks and stuff about it, but I think that helps for sure.
I feel like it's they are using trickery in this trailer to where it says one thing and it's going to be a 180. You
think that this? I actually think this is the first act. I think this is kind of the first act of the movie.
I don't think
the Sentry
it's the
stuff
whole
is going to be the third act. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so excited! I'm so happy to see Red Guardian back. I loved him in Black Widow. I love Yelena. Honestly, my favorite scene, I have two favorite scenes in this trailer, is when Ghost grabs the knife and throws it back at them again. Yeah. I loved that scene. And I love that character.
It kind of reminded me of Deadpool where he grabbed the knife out of Wolverine and threw it something like that. And he grabbed it in midair while it was going away. It's for 3D reasons, I'm guessing, because the point of the sword comes out of the screen if you watch 3D.
This is also kind of what we've been asking for. I think the Marvels, and then this is finally colliding the characters we've been waiting for to connect. This is a sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's a sequel to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's a sequel to Black Widow. We've been kind of wanting those collisions. We've built up all of Phase 4 and 5, we've been building up these characters, and now it's been okay, let's see them collide.
That doesn't even look like Bucky.
I also want to say that this feels like people have been yearning for an Avengers movie, and this feels the closest thing to an Avengers movie from what we've
Funny you say that. One of the trailer names, as I was going to say earlier, was called Thunderbolts Assemble.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't know if that was just somebody being funny, but that really does sum up the movie quite well.
What do you think about? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. It's fine. Go ahead.
I was just asking Paige. He hasn't said anything. What did you think of the trailer?
I'm probably on the other thing, but I don't really care about any of these characters.
Interesting.
So I think it looks decent, but like my excitement is not like low or high. Just
Sure.
like when it comes because I don't really care too much about any of the characters.
So what did you like better, the Captain America 4 trailer or this one?
I think this one looks like a better movie.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
At least like there's some sort of care factor, I guess, around some aspects of the Captain America movie. But then again, they're not overly high on either. The thing with this is that like I thought someone was going to say it, and I thought someone was going to say it in the chat as well. This is. And I said it before. It's clearly Dark Avengers, and that's going to be the.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Clearly
End of the
Dark
movie, they
Avengers,
get changed. Yeah.
and hence the asterisks there and everything like that. And they even said like the even the villains fight villains or whatever it is. Like it's literally just saying it's Dark Avengers, but they probably want to see how this works before they go out and use the name Dark Avengers as a title of a movie in case this one doesn't work.
Right.
Lance basically said that it looks like she bought the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's why I paused on this frame. When I was going through it, I'm like, wait a minute, this looks like the Avengers Tower, like the bar at the Avengers Tower. So are we confirming that's what this is? Everybody
Except
else is
for the bar is supposed to be over there.
And is that even the New York skyline though?
I think that'd be.
It doesn't look overly New Yorky to me, but
it makes.
I got a question. With Bucky putting his arm in the dishwasher, like how long, like will it be that like he punches you and there's a smell of lemon?
Yeah, probably.
I thought you were gonna say there's chunks of food because some idiot didn't actually rinse the plates.
Right.
Mate, that is one of my biggest annoyances. People don't rinse the dishes. You know, you're meant to rinse them, then put them in the dishwasher.
I agree with you.
Chunks of tomato and
I
chunks
still
of
laugh
onion.
whenever I hear when I see like Image Spider-Man catching his arm and saying, "Dude, you have a metal arm? That's so cool."
We do have a couple super chats here. Let's grab these and pull them on screen. One from Cody here. This one's interesting. A $5 super chat. By the way, Bucky is brainwashed. Bucky is predominantly right-handed, while in this trailer he is left-handed, something only the Winter Soldier does. So that would explain why he's going back to tracking down the Thunderbolts. This makes me sad, though. This makes me sad because he had so much character development for him to just go back to being brainwashed again.
I'm like,
but
didn't
I think Cody's right.
He got deprogrammed.
Yeah,
it's
probably something else, though. No, I'm saying it might be another thing. Like it might be something else completely.
Magic.
I was going to ask as well because, like, who are in the Thunderbolts? Because there are a lot of characters that like anti-heroes or
so the
just
Thunderbolts
villains in this movie.
The roster has changed, but let me pull up the list on.
What if it's actually Bucky is trying to? He thinks they're criminals, so he's trying to stop them. Because I don't think Bucky has ever met Black Widow's sister.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of went into this assuming that he was hired by Gia. Yeah, her, and then he goes up and like, all right, guys, I'm taking you in, and he finds out, oh shit, maybe I'm on the wrong side. And
I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure he's on their team. Yeah, by the end of the
Baron Zemo is very notorious for having those Thunderbolts, and the original ones they were using were taking the place of the Avengers. Like Moonstone was Captain Marvel, things like that. And we had people pretending to be the Avengers because the Avengers were not around. And so that's why a lot of people were upset that the Thunderbolts were called the Thunderbolts instead of something else, because it doesn't really fit into what the original like Thunderbolts were.
Didn't that storyline have Norman Osborn in it?
Yeah.
I kind of want whatever happened in Secret Wars to wrap up, because if it's leaving like an afterburner, like I want it like resolved so I don't have to think about it anymore. Because that whole present, like starting Civil War in the streets, that it seems like that should be resolved.
This tweet made me laugh. First look at Tom Holland and Thunderbolts.
I was literally thinking that because he does kind of like with that haircut, and one of his movies with when he was on like a boat, he had that same haircut.
Yeah. So I want to point out that we Icarus was the first sort of Superman character we had in the MCU that like almost copies Superman. In my opinion, Thor filled in the Superman spot in the original Avengers. He was that like when you needed somebody to come in and basically kick ass, it was going to be.
He was also an alien. So
Yeah.
he
He fit that role very well early on. Icarus is no longer a factor. We have no idea when or if that character will ever come back. However, Sentry in the comics and Hyperion as well, and Blue Marvel are all characters that sort of copy sort of what Superman is. But this picture, not referencing the Tom Holland part, you can see the holes in the shirt from where they're being shot at. Nothing's happening to them.
Dozens of bullets.
Yeah, so this is going to be like a Superman, and then you have to deal with the Void and everything the Sentry deals with, which I think is what's going to happen in the third act. But I think it's really cool. We're seeing here that this character, Bob, is going to be bulletproof right away. We're going to see that immediately meeting him. So that's going to raise some red flags for all of the characters. Because as powerful as the characters that we have in the Thunderbolts are, none of them are like Superman level. So
what was the character in Guardians of the Galaxy who was gold?
Adam Warlock? No, he's more of like a... He is sort of Superman-ish, but he's not quite...
He felt like a Lemillion Superman. You know,
he is powerful, 100%.
Once that got like absorbed with the sun, that Superman, it kind of felt like that.
And here's the poster. Careful who you assemble. Thunderbolts.
Someone on Twitter goes, "It's a whack poster." I'm like, well, there are a bunch of whack characters, so a whack poster.
I actually think it's an I think it's so Marvel can't win with some people, and let me explain what I mean by that. Coming from a Marvel shill, okay? Marvel can't win because if they do the copy head poster where everybody's head is in a circle in the middle of the poster, people complain that it's too similar to everything they've ever done. So they do something creative like this that's similar to a couple different posters, inspired by a couple different posters. Then they're like, oh, it's not good. I think this is an interesting looking poster. I like it. It's got all the characters in frame.
You know what ruins it though?
What?
Take away that careful who you assemble. What a fucking way to ruin a poster.
Well, there's a version of this without any text in it at all. I've seen.
Yeah, but I think you still have the Thunderbolts bit, and if you want to keep the date and stuff, it's in theaters. But careful who you assemble. Like, I know it's part of like the Avengers thing. I know, but come on.
Yeah, the assemble thing. Yeah, 100%. Now, Alex Alexander, I see your super chat. I'll address it once we're done with these tabs. We're just going to go through these quickly here. Critical Drinker here says, 2 movie posters released today. The endless girl bossification of cinema continues.
I mean,
wow.
There's 3 central people in the Thunderbolts poster, and one's Bucky and one's David Harewood. Not Harewood, what's his name?
David Harewood?
Red Guardian.
Harbour.
David Harewood's from Martian Manhunter. So.
Yeah, he's Martian. That's But I mean, Florence Pugh's the biggest star, I guess, at least in regards to the Thunderbolts group. So why wouldn't she be?
Well, it seems like she's the one going around assembling them, so that makes sense for her to be in the center of the poster.
Well, yeah, she's the lead of this movie, which I think is an incredible win for Marvel. Like, I think they grabbed her at the exactly right time. Like, I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh, what a downgrade for her," and I was like, she's the lead in one of the biggest franchises in the world.
I also want to point out this, and I know people are going to correct me on this. This wasn't the Critical Drinker saying this. Is from his Reddit, and somebody screenshotted it. But it's just the fact that this community thinks that just having a woman as a lead in a movie is girl bossification. Just shows you how completely rotted entertainment literacy is.
What's funny is like,
got to be awful. I don't even want to think what they're posting in there.
She's not technically the lead. She's a lead in her movie. Like, it's top actor, on the list of names.
I think when they say lead, they mean she's going to be the point of view character.
Bucky is technically the lead, so it's not. So what he's saying, like, a girl bossification is wrong, unless
I don't think it matters. I think it's just I think they're just complaining about the posters because it says 2 posters released today.
I think
it's just the posters. So
I think Bucky's like the third down. I think
I was going to say, wouldn't like
Red Guardian would be number 2, and then
wouldn't David Harbour be the next one, and then maybe Bucky after that?
Yeah,
just maybe.
I think pretty much that poster sort of lines them up.
I think Bucky is actually second in line. Unless it's like
I love Bucky, so I agree with 3Dub. I think he's the number 1 because Bucky's my favorite. So
I don't know if he'll be in a lot of the first half. Like I
think he's in every scene, Darren. I think he's in every scene in the movie.
I knew you were trolling to start off with, but it's good to know you made it.
Okay, and let's read the synopsis here. It says Marvel Studios and a crew of indie veterans who sold out
the lead of the Thunderbolts, Quinlan.
An irreverent team up featuring depressed assassin Yelena Belova alongside the MCU's least anticipated band of Misfits. So that kind of confirms that she is the de facto lead of the film.
I mean, look at Comic-Con. Like, 2 people in a row said that, like, oh yeah, she's the star of the show. Like, Sebastian Stan said that, and then also David Harper said, yeah, she's the star of the show. She's
I'm already,
the
this trailer 100% sold me on this film.
No,
I had almost no interest in it, and then I saw this trailer and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm 100% on board with this.
It's really impressive how far she's come, because she's started in Black Widow, a movie that came out in COVID, a movie not a lot of people enjoyed that much. Like, it didn't do well at all. But that's so impressive about her, because like in a movie that Scarlett Johansson, like we were waiting so long for that Black Widow movie, and yet the star was her sister. Like, and she's the one that's carrying on. She's doing her whole.
Well, I think that's like one of the potential issues with the movie is the fact that outside of Bucky, no one stands out, because the issue, even like she was obviously in Hawkeye, but is it only one episode of Hawkeye, and like Hawkeye didn't rate like ridiculous.
Sure.
Like it wasn't this massive thing. So I'm wondering if that's an effect on that.
I think they're definitely going to be leading on the Bucky marketing.
It makes you wonder why they didn't, if there was a potential to maybe bring someone else in, but maybe they wanted to keep it a pretty even playing field. They didn't want like some massive person coming in, like when Baron Zemo was thinking, like I think Baron Zemo might have outweighed it a bit because he was in Civil War and more people know him and stuff. So maybe they might have outweighed it a bit. So it's a pretty even playing field. So, especially when you take Bucky out and he's not actually in that main group. Like he's, I guess, at least for most of the movie, he's on their ass trying to kill them. Was she in 3 episodes of Hawkeye?
Yeah.
God.
Really?
So, Darth Bunyan, you say you have to head out now. You're bouncing out. Okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate you stopping in and hanging out with us. Please come and hang out again.
I will.
We'll take care.
Thanks, mate.
So apparently, people are like misheard me when I said that when I was talking about the lead. I mean, like, he's not the lead actor in the movie, but he's the lead of Thunderbolts. He's the lead.
I don't know. I think he was still being sexist, so we'll just sit on that one. I think it was
because Kevin Feige confirmed it. I'm going off the information that he confirmed.
All right, let's drop this down here. And any final thoughts on Thunderbolts? I know a lot of people are saying it's going to be the wokest Marvel movie ever, and I'm just like, I don't know about that.
I think that's hard when
there's one female in the whole movie. It's like I don't. All right.
All right, it's time to talk about some DCEU news.
Oh, that's not true. I'm sorry. There's like 3. I just forgot about Ghost and.
Before we get to the big news from DC, we're going to address the super chat here from Alex Alexander. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You can only choose one to see: James Gunn's Superman trilogy or MCU X-Men trilogy or Sony animated Spider-Man 2099 trilogy. So we'd have to choose one. I'm going to say
it's X-Men. I know your answer is X-Men.
Yeah. No, I had to think about it. It was between that and Superman, but I'm going to go with X-Men.
I think the easy answer is X-Men because there's just more characters to explore, so you're getting more bang for your buck.
I'm going with Superman.
Oh.
I'm going to say, here's what I'll say. I'm going to say Superman, just because I think the world needs Superman right now more than they need X-Men. So
wow, that's a good newspaper. That's a good newspaper.
We have X-Men 97 at the moment, which it's going to be very hard for them to beat, in my opinion. So
why the world needs Superman?
And we don't get Superman, we don't get DC at all. Like I feel it's just gonna be Batman for the next 10 years. So
whereas if it's the X-Men, they'll give them a few films before they're like, fuck the X-Men. They'll give them a few films before that happens. So I don't know. I'm excited about Superman, but we need to see. I'm ready for like some footage. I want to see some teasers for it at this point.
Do you think we get that this year, or do you think they wait till next year?
Ooh, I don't know.
End of this year.
End of the year.
I think you'll get a teaser trailer at CCXP. Not anything massive, but maybe like a small one. And then they probably drop their balls on Super Bowl. You'd have to think.
So we have an official Hal Jordan now. Kyle Chandler is going to be Hal Jordan in the HBO Lantern series. There's no casting for Jon Stewart yet. I'm sure that's going to come right around the corner. This person was not, I don't think this was a name that was in any of the choices, which means that all the other people that were up for it probably said no. However, be my opinion. Out of the choices we had, this is not a bad choice. Kyle Chandler's a great actor, and I think he's going to do a really good job.
It's better than a lot of the choices that were there. I think the only people that were probably better suited were Timothy Olyphant and Chris Pine. I think the concerning thing is if they were all approached, they all partook in meetings and stuff and all turned it down. That's the only thing I'm like.
One of the comments that was made, like they quoted, was it was wishful thinking.
No, they said that wishful thinking is that like it's like you're going for like a 10 out of 10 chick walking down the street. It's like, fuck, you're never getting that, man. Like, just keep walking. Like, that's the sort of thing that like wishful thinking, or like, putting like $100 on like I'm going to win the lotto tonight. Okay. Wishful thinking there. But I think the thing is that they were going for a movie star, and like Kyle Chandler is like specifically TV. Like he's known as like the TV.
Well, there's
like
no
premium TV.
We
actor.
do have a thing here that talks about like more on it. Let me see if it's
for me. Meg was actually wishful thinking for Supergirl, but
so it says his contract does not involve any movie component, so he has been cast for the series only right now.
Which probably means that Hal Jordan dies come the end of the series.
Okay, so I have my opinion about that, but let's look at the rest of this here. So filming begins in January 2025. Described as having a gritty True Detective vibe, as they'll focus on Jordan reluctantly mentoring a young Lantern, John Stewart. There's a lot to unpack there. I have a lot of opinions about this. I know that Kyle Chandler is almost 60. I think he's like late 50s.
He's 58, yeah.
Okay. Which means that Hal Jordan is done. They're not going to use this character other than to train John Stewart, making him the main Lantern probably. So the casting for John Stewart is much more important, I think, than the casting of Hal Jordan in this film universe. Would you agree with that? Everybody kind of agree with that there?
Well, I think that's why they just need to get someone they know could do the job. It's not someone that needs this ridiculous prep time and stuff like. Obviously, needs some sort of prep time going into the role, but it's not this thing of like a lot of baggage. You need to perform because you're going to have this role for the next 8 years. If you fuck it up, you fucked it up. Like,
if it was really unimportant, they could have just they had an actor already who played Green Lantern. Just bring him back and be like, hey, this is.
I think they want a fresh start on that, though. I didn't think they want any baggage.
And also, why would that? Yeah, it'd be silly to bring back Ryan Reynolds again. Remember that?
That's what I was
very
like.
Well.
It would be kind of funny though.
He wouldn't have done it.
It would be funny, but
he would have stuck his middle finger at James Gunn.
Screw you! Like you're doing it as a joke. Yeah.
He can make more jokes about it in Deadpool.
Well,
if he ever comes back, it'll be like Crisis type role for they can kill him off. Just to be like, I can't.
If he was going to die, he would have come back.
Yeah. So I have a few issues with this to unpack. I want to pull up Cody's comment though. It says it probably means they're doing Parallax Hal. I would say that except for the fact there's no movie contract with Kyle. So if we're gonna get Parallax, I feel like that's a character big enough that it would encompass a film. And
I think anyone asking for Parallax doesn't. Like Parallax takes so much setup,
and we're not gonna get that with this Hal. That's the thing.
You have to have Hal be the Green Lantern and have shit happen to him. Otherwise, you're just doing Parallax and it doesn't work.
So that's part of my issue, Paigey. So go ahead, Darren. Before I get into this, what were you gonna say?
No, I mean someone who doesn't know who Parallax is. Like, is he typically like a Justice League villain, or is he more exclusively?
He's a villain of all the Lanterns. Like he's a massive villain of every type of Lantern.
Wasn't he the villain in 2011?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, but that was not a good version of Parallax.
That played into the issue with the movie where they rushed a lot of the lore and stuff like that.
Here are my pros and cons. My pro is I like John Stewart. I don't mind John Stewart being the main Lantern. He's got great stories. I think he works well in a team dynamic. I actually think John Stewart is a better team character than Hal Jordan is, to be completely honest.
Sure.
I think he works better in a team.
However, that is my. Go ahead, I didn't realize you had a however. You can go on.
However, I don't like the idea that we're passing over Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
like that I don't like. So,
I think that could be something that rubs people the wrong way, depending on how they handle the Hal Jordan thing. If all their focus is on developing John Stewart, you're just having Hal Jordan there as like a jigsaw puzzle in regards to developing John Stewart, and you do Hal dirty, that can leave a bad mark on John Stewart.
I mean, I can see them killing off Hal to further John Stewart's character development. That seems to me like a very high probability.
Before he is that the biggest issue with Jon Stewart, if he is going to be the main Green Lantern, is that he's never really worked as the main Green Lantern, as like a solo Green Lantern.
He's always been a team. He's worked better as a team player.
Team player, whether it's in the Justice League or
Sure.
just with other Green Lantern core members. So, but the only thing I can think of is that he will be like the face of the Green Lanterns in this world. So you'll see him in the Justice League. You'll see him next to Superman, next to Batman,
Sure.
next to whatever they want to do. But they have someone else come in and be the one that has their solo adventures, which I'm hoping is Jessica Cruz, because I think it's a character that has a lot of potential in regards to the backstory and then when she actually becomes a Green Lantern. But then there's also Kyle Rayner, who I have a feeling that's who James Gunn would like, because he was a Green Lantern when, like, I think Gunn read a lot of his comics when, like, Gunn was, because when you look at like some of the characters that Gunn's bringing in, it's very late 80s, early to mid 90s and stuff like that. So that's where I could see, that's a Green Lantern I could see coming in as like the one that does the solo stuff.
It's
How
an
would-
easier pill to swallow because of how the fact that Guy Gardner is the third Green Lantern in order if you go from the comics, because it was like Alan Scott.
I
Hal
think
Jordan.
that chronologically, this entire universe is going to be fucked. I
think it's a mishmash. Yeah, I think it's
I
going to be
it's
all
just
over the
completely
place.
fucked.
For me,
Not
it's
all over the place, like,
easier pill to
is
swallow that Hal dies because of it. Like, there's so many Earth Green Lanterns right now.
well, no, I think if he dies, it's probably because something else. Yeah, but I was going to say someone, probably some like alien creature thing kills him.
Yeah.
I heard like
So,
yeah.
I also want to point out Maestro's comment. That's pretty common. Like the Dark Phoenix character or any major storyline. That's why Avengers Endgame was such a big deal, because they took a lot of time building up that story and did it right. And a lot of other people want to jump that decade-long build-up and just get right to it. And I think that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
How
I
would
like-
we? Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead.
I like
Okay.
the I like the Dark Phoenix that turns into the nicer one. It stops like at Dark Phoenix. I'm like, there's more to Dark Phoenix. Keep going. Stop.
They
going.
only want Dark Phoenix. That's all they
I'm like,
want.
stop going on the boring one.
Darren, what were you going to say?
Yeah. I mean, I James Gunn has kind of teased a little bit like he's willing to jump around in terms of the timeline, similar to taking inspiration from Star Wars. So like going to the past, going to the future. I do wonder if there's a world where we could get prequel films before a lot of these stuff is set. So like I've pitched like maybe maybe Batgirl as Oracle in the mainstream timeline, but we do a prequel, movie where she's still Batgirl.
I mean,
And-
I think we might only get options for Elseworld stories. We might get a standalone Hal Jordan Elseworlds movie. You know what I mean? But that also brings this up from Anthony. This is the other issue I have with it. So Hal Jordan, Barry Allen friendship, the Hal Jordan Green Arrow, the Green Lantern Green Arrow story, never going to get that. By getting rid of certain characters or making them prominent in a weird chronological way, you skip over some really important and good stories from the comics that they're just passing up.
In my opinion, there's pillar characters in the DC world that branch off and allow for larger storytelling. Hal Jordan is one of them. Whether you want him to be the main Green Lantern, you can still do Jon Stewart, or at least have Jon Stewart be the Green Lantern in the Justice League and stuff like that. But you just lose some dynamics there. And like the one thing that's always I keep seeing peddle is that like this is going to be the most accurate DCU, which I knew straight from the gate wasn't going to be the case, because Gunn is always he's not just going to adapt something straight, because he just read the comic if that's the case. He's going to make it his own thing. Even when you look at Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and the characters there. So anyone that was sort of peddling, like, get ready for this overly accurate DCU, I'm like, no, you probably don't know. You just don't. You don't know. Like, stop telling other people that.
Trust me, we didn't forget Serenity. I remember that awful costume and that whole situation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think if like any like I mean, 3 was working up like bringing up like Ryan Reynolds come back, I'd assume Guy Gardner is going to be treated like a joke. I'd assume that, which might trigger Guy Gardner fans, but surely that's why you cast Nathan Fillion, because it's such a silly choice for the character, but it plays into if you are going to.
And they
play
know
around
that
with
he loves Green Lantern because he's been Green Lantern.
I'm just wondering,
think
like,
Hal Jordan-
I'm just wondering, like, what it means for like the Flash. Are they just going to have Barry Allen already dead?
Probably.
And Wally West is the
Well,
Flash.
this is kind of like what I was thinking they'd do with Barry and Wally. Like that's kind of what I imagined, is you would have Barry through maybe the first Justice League movie, him die, and then Wally take up the mantle. Was kind of the direction I thought they'd go.
But the only
there.
thing I can think of is if they're doing this, you were talking about the timeline thing, there's potential, like, so for say in 2025 2024 and beyond, 2025, say when Superman comes in, Wally is the Flash. He is the Flash. He's the one running around, whether it's Keystone or Central City. But there's a different timeline thing. So when they do their Teen Titans movie, that's not set in 2024. That's set in 2009 or something like that. Barry Allen's the Flash. Wally West is Kid Flash at that point. Hal Jordan's 15 years younger. They cast an actor who's 15 years younger around the actor, like can play off, I guess, Kyle Chandler, like someone that's just a younger Kyle Chandler or something like that. And then they play around with that. So you still get those characters in a short dose and you get to see their place within the universe.
Yeah.
Then you can, and then also that adds a bit of an interesting like dynamic where you can have multiple characters or multiple actors, might I say, playing the same character in the same universe.
Yes.
So one's playing the 30-year-old version, one's playing the 50-year-old version. And obviously one of the concerns we brought up before is that this universe is only going to go for 8 to 10 years. But then that allows a lot of playtime if you want to put it in the universe by having these different things there, which I think would be really cool. I don't know if that's the way that's going to go about it because that might be a hard sell. You're going to have 3 actors or something play the same character just in different time periods. But I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I kind of my cool idea is actually them not just sticking with willpower. I think it would be nice to dabble in the other colors like violet and rage and other colors like and from the Green Lanterns.
I think the only
I'm
one you
thinking
probably
they will,
see is
but,
you probably see yellow because I mean, and maybe
I mean,
that's I think you probably see yellow Lantern Corps and red Lantern Corps. Just
every
because you
time,
get cool stuff.
every time we see like the character in green, that Celestial, he's going to turn evil.
True. Yeah.
Do we think Lanterns is going to be like an anthology, like each season following a different set of lanterns?
I think it's one season that's done. I think that's why.
Yeah,
it's
because
Lanterns.
Anthony pointed out here that the DCEU Green Lantern series was going to be an anthology. And I think that there was a time when they were going to do something with Greg Berlanti's series. It was going to be something similar to that.
So that was the anthology one.
Yeah. And they kind of went away from that to do this. I think what's going to happen is James Gunn is going to make some decisions, to be quite honest, that are going to alienate certain fans. They're just not going to be into it.
Yeah. And I think that's not necessarily across the entire thing. It'd just be like he'll do one thing with a certain character where you go, I fucking hate that, and I really do not want to support that. But then he'll do something with another character like that's exactly what I want. I love that. Thank you. And then there's other ones where like I don't really care because I might not care too much about the character, so I'll go watch it.
I'm not a fan of the one seasons of Marvel because it when you go into a series you expect more, and when you don't get more you're like, what now?
Yeah.
But if it happens with like Penguin and Green Lantern, I'm like, there's really no point in watching it because you can like get the cliff notes.
Yeah, but you can do that about a movie. You can do that about a movie.
You don't have that emotional travel. Like you don't get. If you start to love it, you will be sad when it's taken away from you. And I don't like that.
So Daddy Hates the Metal with a $2 super chat. Thank you for supporting the show. He says they could be setting up the DCU Blackest Night. And it is possible they could be doing that, but are we going to care about Hal Jordan after the series? That's the question.
Once again, but that plays into like exploring the past, because who cares about Blackest Night if you got this character you either spent little to no time with or no time? Like, who cares if, for example, if Barry Allen comes back to life if he's been dead in Blackest Night when we haven't spent time with him, or he's been in like 10 minutes of a movie? I'm like, and it could be a movie that people don't see. Like if it is Teen Titans, that might not make as much money as Superman or another movie. So to do Blackest Night, that has to be like Marvel's closer to doing something with Blackest Night if they want to, because characters have died.
Well, it's crazy. The Nova show is going to explore space and different Nova people, but the Green Lantern show is going to be on Earth and it's going to kill a major character. I mean,
kill its main Green Lantern.
One of the things like I've been dying to see in animation or live action is the death metal with Batman turning into Red Death. And
no
also
offense, I fucking hate that storyline.
And the Blackest Night. Those are the two ones I
So
really
he wants to see the dark multiverse stuff, basically.
Yeah, I basically want to see that in animation or live action.
I think I'd rather see it in animation than live action.
I'd rather see it in animation too, because there's you can be more like comic book accurate.
Yeah. Anyway, any final thoughts on this, and we'll wrap up this particular story here? Anything at all?
I'm I'm just intrigued to
Is
see
this
what
a
they
red
do.
flag? Is it a red flag?
It's not a red flag. I'm just interested to see like what the setting is beforehand and everything because like if you don't like, I guess if you want to like a preface before this one, if they are going to do anything which maybe leads to Hal Jordan dying or including a character like the 0 Hour, which is the crossover, which like the event which led into like Hal Jordan, what had him as Parallax, I think, from the top of my head. I just don't know what like. It's just that like I'm just concerned about like the shape of the universe and stuff like that, and I wish that's something James Gunn would actually sort of clarify a bit more because I don't think it spoils it. I don't think him saying that this is said there, this is said here, this happened before, is a spoiler. I think it would actually reassure people because then people might not watch it, or like if you know, and then again like the trailer can show us stuff and everything like that. But I wouldn't mind like a DCU timeline, even if it's after Superman comes out. Like if Superman like acknowledges some stuff because we know that's set in the present day. But if that acknowledges that certain things happened in the past and stuff like that, then I think that might reassure people, at least in regards to how the world is to an extent, especially now that we know that it's got its own history. Like we don't know necessarily did World War II happen or did World War II happen 10 years earlier than it did, or you know, did stuff like that happen? Did Vietnam happen or whatever?
I wonder. I do think Waller could be a really fun opportunity for them to kind of lay down some of the lore of this universe if they want to, because I feel like she's a character who has her hands in like every aspect of the DC universe. So
I think Creature Commandos can to an extent as well, and that might be why it's the first thing because of like GI Robot and stuff like that. So he get to go, oh, this happened or that happened, or they could reference to past events through him or through Rick Flag Sr. And then they could do that with Peacemaker, which is then folding into this new. What's the fucking new canon, and we know that things are going to change there, so they can address stuff that happened before. So
did James Gunn ever confirm that Hal's dying?
No,
it's not.
Well, that would be a spoiler.
Yeah, we're speculating it's a contract with the TV side only, and it's a training thing for Jon Stewart.
Okay,
it just
my mind was like,
honestly, it's either he goes away completely and does something else, or he gets killed off. That's really the only explanation for it.
Is it possible they just do like a project by project like contract? Like they could be like, all right, let's see how this does, and then once they establish things a little bit, then they like extend these.
I think with Kyle Chandler, he wouldn't be expensive to just put on hold anyway, just to like sign him up for that. It's not like you're getting like Matthew McConaughey.
With a TV actor, you can balance out their schedule. You know what I mean? They can balance it out and make it work. So
I kind of still want to see Alan Scott. I know that he's probably dead and gone, but I kind of want to see a flashback of him.
All right, so we have a video here from Guillermo de Choro here, and this is a 20-second clip. But I saved this for the stream because we talk a lot about like how people view media now. And he makes a really good point here, and I thought this would be a really good discussion to have as we like close everything out. So here's what he had to say about this.
The two worst myths, I think, are romantic love and perfection. They're horrifying because they create standards that make everybody suffer. As a culture, we are in a spasm of perfection, where we demand things to either be the greatest or the worst, evil or good. We have turned into 5-year-olds.
I thought that was a really strong statement, and it sort of, to me, explains where we are in media.
Well,
right now.
We've talked about this before. Like, there's little to no nuance in things now. You know, that you might think like me saying something's mid is a bit over the top, but it's at least someone saying it's fucking ass or it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, like that's because no one wants to. I guess
wasn't that Catwoman for you?
No, I think I watched that when I was 8, and that's the last time, and I knew it was bad then, so that probably says a lot about that. But like, yeah, like he's right on the, he's right on it. Like people just, but it's an issue on both sides. It's an issue when people just slag something off just because, for whatever reason, doesn't fit their identity politics or whatever it is, and then people go, it's a Marvel movie, it's a DC movie. Like people are already probably giving Superman a 10 out of 10 on Letterboxd or whatever it is, and it's like, man, how do you know it's not an 8? You know what I mean? That doesn't help in regards to the overall view of a movie or a project or whatever it might be, whether it is, art like TV and film, or it's like, I mean, America in a nutshell, with all the politics stuff, like there's no nuance to it.
He
Stuff like
brought
that. For
politics.
example. No, I'll
Yeah,
mention it, but I'm not
no.
gonna mention
It's mention it.
specifics.
No, we're gonna get into it. But he's right though. I've watched a lot of video clips, political video clips. Again, I'm not gonna dive into it. But it seems like there's a lot of people sort of yelling at each other and not actually talking with each other.
Guess
I
what they're
think that's
yelling
a big
from?
Problem.
The other side of the room. They're on either side of the room.
Yeah, yeah,
And
no,
get a
I
bit-
agree.
get a
I
bit
agree.
Closer, you hear each other a bit better.
No, absolutely. I spend a lot of time like going into other streams with other people that don't think the same way I do, so we can talk about stuff. And I actually don't agree with most of the stuff they say, but to actually hear them explain why they feel that way instead of yelling and screaming is interesting, and it does build bridges a bit. And you know, maybe we'll get.
Well,
back
you
to
in that
point.
because so for those who don't know, like Eric sometimes like he'll like advertise if he's on another stream or not. So he was in one about like the debate on Diddy the other day, and I was like really
Yeah, sure, absolutely, 100%.
and like one of the questions was like, do you believe in the baby oil? And Eric was like, what's wrong with having 1,000 bottles of baby oil in your closet?
I've got 1,001, so I mean,
I've heard it's more.
I'm stocked up.
You got the ones with the glitter in it as well.
Yes, glitter, and they're scented as well.
What do they smell like?
They smell like roses. So
I think I say something sus.
No, I'm not going to say anything sus. I had something pulled up here that I was going to put on screen while we wrap up. We do have a super chat. We'll answer here in a second. But I wanted Paige to see this. It was an update from one of his favorite content creators. So I was trying to I can't confirm or deny that, but here we go. I'm going to share this on the screen now while we wrap this up. Here we go. Okay, so
oh god.
Radical Z with a $2
At least
super
he's
chat
wearing undergarments. I don't know if they're pants. Are they underwear? Is that
it looks like underwear to me, but it could be. We're not going to leave it. We're not going to leave it on the scrry. But I want to read the super chat. Do you think we'll get the multiverse in the DCU? I don't know if we will, but
I will say like we will off screen. It's going to be there. No matter how you think about it, it's there. You don't have to see it. It's there.
I think if they do it, I wouldn't mind doing it with like the JSA. I wouldn't mind if the JSA just existed on Earth too. But it sort of just depends how they want to do their history and stuff. Like if you got Sergeant Rock and stuff in World War II, and he's meant to be like, because I think the JSA should be like known to the public in the period that they're doing it. So whether that's the 40s or the 70s or whatever they want to do it. But then, like, it sounds like maybe like some of the metahumans were undercover in World War II, based off like potentially in the timeline stuff. But depends how that. Like, I'm sure like Creature Commandos will give us an insight as to like Creature Commandos might literally show us Jay Garrick running around or something like that. That might be a surprise. We don't know. So it depends. Probably depends on that.
The only one that can tap into it for us to see it is a Flash. So without the Flash, there's no multiverse.
I've even theorized and wondered about Peacemaker. Like, what are they going to do to explain the Peacemaker? Is it just going to be a timeline thing? I've even wondered, is like, will our Peacemaker have a bit of memory of what maybe happened on the other side? Like, they could go that route. I don't know if they will. That is a direction they could go. But in general, I don't want multiverse stories in the DCU for a very, very long time. Like
Peacemaker might be crazy enough to be like Deadpool, to where he can see the timelines. And
I thought about that. Yeah,
I think that's too far. Like I personally think that's too, especially for a character that is
this
really
too far?
only there because James Gunn.
Yeah, that's way too far.
No, I can tell you he probably could have gone further. Let's be completely honest. He could have gone further.
All right. Anyway, that's where we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you're watching this on playback and anything is missing, just know it's because YouTube is blocking stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But check out the Thunderbolts trailer. Let us know what you think about it. I was rather excited about it. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and like or dislike. I guess just engage, please, if you could. I'm begging you. I'm on my hands and knees here. Anyway, just kidding. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see everyone in the next stream. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, 3Dub, and thank you, Paigey, and also Darth for stopping in. Bye, everyone. See ya.